idea, okay? He's a Muslim.
Yeah, they do the same thing.
Let's find anything trash.
Right, they do the same thing about the Bible. Yeah, that was weak, Phoenix. I mean, you could have fed Sam a better line.
It's only for Islam, it's from all the religions. Yeah. And there's a one verse for something, it will be a haters. But this is very rude. This is very rude.
Now,
there's something called Rami al-Muhsanat. Rami al-Muhsanat. What Rami al-Muhsanat means? This is something in Islam, in all the religions, that you're saying that something happened and you didn't see it with your eyes. If I just say, okay, anybody, let me make it about me. So, okay, my friend said, Marley, okay, she fucked up with Andrew, let's say, okay? She will go to hell because she didn't see what happened, and she's spoken by her mouth for something she have never seen. So this is really
okay, look, we do this to Christians.
Let's look at that.
What is your opinion?
Well, wait a minute.
Let's look. You guys are claiming.
Okay, so I'm having a look now on the research. Okay.
Yeah, you are casting aspersions on me and saying that I'm mixing this up.
Muhammad and his
what
wife.
You shall do.
And
will
I
look
can
at the
tell.
fucking
Hold up, Marley. This is when you win. Make Sam own it.
You guys are fucking pieces of shit. I fucking hate you guys. I literally hate you guys. Okay, Sahih Bukhari. This is narrated by Aisha. This is from Sahih Bukhari. When Sauda bint Zama became old, she forfeited her day to Aisha, and the Prophet used to spend time with Sauda's night, spent it with Aisha. This is in various compilations from Bukhari to Muslim. Now, also in Sunan al-Tirmidhi, this is narrated by at-Tirmidhi on the authority of Ibn Abbas. He said, Sauda feared that she would be divorced by the Messenger of Allah. So she said, don't divorce me, please. Keep me with you, and I'll give you my day that you spend with me. You can give it to Aisha.
Have you been there? Did you see them? Okay, I will say something.
By that logic, have you seen Muhammad in order to know if Islam
By
is
that
true?
logic, do we know about Noah? Did we see the blood? Come on, Buster. You can't win this one. Yeah, give it to the atheist.
By that logic, do you have a friend that haven't seen it?
I just want
There's plenty of people that
What
can
are you
connect
saying?
right now.
Okay,
Marley,
I respect you. I don't know what is your
Marley, you accused me of having no evidence. Now I just read two different hadiths, and I gave you two different scholars.
Tell me what are the hadiths.
And now you should now say, Sam, I apologize. I thought you had no evidence, but I was wrong.
Please tell me. Okay, where is this hadith? This is within the link.
No, it's not in the link. This is not in the link, and that's what I'm trying to look up, and I don't see it either. So, hey, Phoenix.
If this link is written by somebody and this one wants it just had it as a
Sam's mouthpiece. Why don't you explain why Sam's coming up with this response?
I can write something and just send you a link.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what do you want?
Yeah, we can just write whatever we want. Stick it in
So
the chat.
I can just go right now to Sunnah.com. Alright, so if I want to, first of all, I said it was in Tabari, and I gave you my source right there, so you can actually see it. But if you go to Sunnah.com right here, and then go press in the search bar, say Sauda, right, the word Sauda, right? And then look what it's oh, there are many ones about Sauda. The first thing that comes up, Sunan Ibn Majah, 1972. Oh, narrated from Aisha that when Sauda bint Zam'a grew old, she gave her day to Aisha, and the messenger of Allah went to Aisha on Sauda's day. What else does it say here? Bulugh al-Maram, 755. Aisha narrated Sauda, the wife of the Prophet, asked his permission on the night of Muzdalifah to leave earlier to Mina. She was a heavy and slow woman, meaning fat, huge lady. In other words, the Prophet gave her permission agreed upon. And the list just keeps going on and on. Sunan Abu Dawud, 2138. Aisha's wife of the Prophet reported when Allah's apostle intended to go on a journey, he cast lots amongst his wives, and the one who was chosen by lot went on in it with him. He divided his time, day and night, and for each his wives, except that Sauda, daughter of Zam'an, gave her day to Aisha. We know where this story comes from. So it just keeps going. Sunnah Abi Dawud 3715. I can just keep reading this over and over. And which one is yours, Sam?
I posted
I don't know.
on. I posted in the link on the top of the chat. So I pinned the link to my Gemini conversation, and you can just follow all of the fucking links that it gives you multiple different citations. You can just follow them all up.
Thanks, Sam. Can you click the link that Phoenix put in the chat? Because I just clicked it and I looked at this very, I would say, expose that's like an investigation. If you look at the context that comes with this that he put in there, this is very, very, I would say, Islamophobic. And I am a Christian. I am like a super Christian that like definitely not Muslim, right? All right, like click on that link and look at where the authors of that link come from.
Katie, I want to say something, Sam. Let's say, okay, what you are telling happened, okay, which I 100% don't believe. What's your problem? But this will never happen, okay? But what's your problem? Why are you talking for something you have never seen? What's this?
What's my problem?
What's wrong? There's nothing said. Okay.
Marley.
Let's say.
You haven't seen it either, Marley. How do you know it happened? How do you know it's Marley? Marley. How do you know it didn't happen? You can see it.
Marley, do you have a brain?
Yeah, I have a brain.
How do I know you have a brain since I haven't seen it?
Because I'm human.
But that's your logic, right? How do you know if you're not there? Well, how do I know you have a brain? Like, what kind of logic is this? Do you understand? It's ridiculous.
So you're comparing something that doesn't relate to the topic. That's what you're doing.
It's exactly what you're asking for. You say you've never been there. How do you know? Well, I've never seen your brain either. So how do I know you have a brain?
So if I'm talking, if there's something bad, I hear something bad. Let's say I hear, let's say Katie. I don't mean anything, Katie. Okay. Let's say I hear that Katie have done something, a trash thing. Okay. I hear that. Should I spread that over the world? Okay. And by the way, Katie have never done that.
So
That's the same thing. That's what can I relate to?
yeah, okay. So I'm taking reliable, even Kathir, Tabari, the Hadiths. There are multiple different sources of evidence that this happened. Now, because there's evidence that there's good evidence that it happened, you should believe that it happened. Now that I believe that it happened, I can say evaluate the character of a man who doesn't love his wife enough that when his wife says, "Hey, please don't divorce me. I know I'm getting old and I know I'm kind of fat, but please don't divorce me." You would expect a decent man to say, "You're my wife. That is a sacred trust between us. I will protect you. I will protect you until the day that you die. I don't care if you're ugly. I don't care if
Technically, I'm not wasting my time.
you
I'm not
know
wasting
how
my
to
time.
control yourself. None of you know how to control yourselves. None of you know how to control yourselves. You're like pieces of shit. Okay, I'm explaining my perspective, which is if someone says, their wife says, "Hey, I'm scared you're gonna divorce me because I'm a little bit old." Go, "I married you because I love you, not because you're young and pretty. I married you because I want to spend my life with you. I love you, and you have been a good wife to me. And I'm not just me here because you're a hottie. That's not the only reason why I love you. And also, I know that if I divorced you, you'd be in a lot of danger because our society doesn't make it easy for widows and single women to be alone in this world. So of course I'm not going to divorce you." So that's what Muhammad should have said. But instead, what he said is, "You're right. I will fuck Aisha. Instead of spending time with you, I'm going to spend my time with Aisha because I like young pussy and I don't like spending time with you because you're old and ugly." That is not the behavior of a good man. It's the behavior of someone who doesn't even know what love is, who doesn't know what marriage is. It's a despicable behavior of someone who uses women as cum buckets rather than human beings on which to have relationships with. It is cruelty. It is not seeing a woman as a human being, someone who has value for the things in their head, their thoughts and their feelings. It's seeing some women purely as sex objects. It is the most objectifying thing. I don't even think objectivism is that bad in the sense of finding women hot. But to say that to a woman, "I've dedicated my life to you, but now you're a little ugly, I'm going to have to divorce you," that is despicable behavior. And there's good evidence that it happened. It's Tabari, it's the Hadith, it's Ibn Kathir. There's lots of evidence that it happened. And you are following a man who does not know what love is, who does not know how to protect a woman, who does not know how to say to a woman, "I know you're insecure, but I love you. I love you and I will spend my life with you. Why? Because you are my wife, and it is my duty as a husband to protect you. No, he says, let me fuck the young hot girl instead of you, and stop complaining or I'll divorce you. That is the behavior of a fucking scoundrel. A scoundrel. And you're saying he's good? What is wrong with you? The fuck is wrong with you? Why do you follow this man?
Sam, I think your blood pressure just went up. I mean, what else can you say other than that? But let me read something else that I actually, since someone actually brought this up and said, who was it, Dr. D? He's not here, but it was funny that he was saying that, it was just a little smooch, like it wasn't sexual the way that Muhammad kissed his grandson. You tell me, I'm going to read this from you. So there are 3 different hadiths in this. One is at Hakim, and the other is 4791. The other one is Al-Mustadrak al-Sahihain, which is 4791 as well. And sorry, 4820, my apologies. And the other one is Musnad Ahmad, 16848. So here are all 3 of them. Narrated by Abu Huraira, the first one. I have not stopped loving this man after I saw the Messenger of Allah do what he did. I saw Al-Hasan in the lap of the Prophet. He put his fingers in the beard of the Prophet, and the Prophet put his tongue in his mouth, and then he said, "Oh Allah, I love him, so love him." And the other one goes, the second hadith goes, narrated by Ya'la al-Amri, he put one hand under the back of his neck and the other under his chin. Then he placed his mouth on his mouth, kissing him. Yes, the third one. This one's the most graphic one out of all of them. Narrated by Muawiyah, which is, by the way, one of the caliphs. I saw the Messenger of Allah suck his tongue, or he said his lip, meaning that Al-Hasan ibn Ali, peace be upon him, and no tongue or lip that have been sucked by the Messenger of Allah will be tormented in hell. You tell me that's not sexual. That's pretty darn sick.
Yeah, it seems pretty sexual. As I said, I'm not particularly bothered by the gay stuff that Muhammad does. Like, I'm happy to grant that Muhammad did some gay stuff, but like that, I mean, maybe the Muslims don't want to grant it, but I don't care. What I care about is silly stuff and evil stuff, not gay stuff.
Yeah, but what really gets me is I can contextualize this. I can find a reason to say that at that time and in that place, that wasn't so out of place. But the question is, what is this supposed to show? What sort of, value or teaching through the ages should be derived from that? Because it's something that happened during the lifetime of Muhammad, and it was between him and his grandson, and it would not affect believers like hundreds of years down. I don't see why such hadith are actually in there. I really don't see the reason why. Why? Cui bono?
Yeah, I don't know who benefits from having them in there. I just think that these texts are like, at the time they had different moral priorities than us. So they didn't realize how offensive it would seem. Just like in the future, when everyone's eating lab-grown food, and they're like, wait, hold on, what did you do to animals? We just don't see it as bad. They didn't see, all this stuff about, oh yeah, of course you divorce someone because he's ugly, or of course you crucify someone for doing mischief in the land. And they didn't realize that, oh yeah, maybe in the future people will think different about this. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. Muhammad's character, he's not a nice man. Muhammad is not a nice man. The thing about Sauda offends me more than a lot of these other stories, because...
Yeah, but that's a story, that's what I'm trying to get to.
No, but...
I mean, just 1 minute before, I have to say, and I really apologize in advance if I offend anyone in the audience or throughout the world by saying this, but I'm not really sure how reliable a source Aisha is when she talks about stuff that concerns her. Yeah. and I certainly don't consider Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan a reliable source. No matter how clean the narration chain below them is, I'm not sure how valuable they are as witnesses to these things.
Okay, so I just want to say something. What's the actual hadith source that is authentic that says something like that? I never, ever heard of anything like this. And even if you bring, I want to actually go and read a source from sunnah.com. Like, bro, I clicked the link you sent, right? It doesn't say that. It's talking about Adam and Eve. Okay, so I'm just going to be really clear right now. Bring me the source, and it must be a hadith that is authentic. Because otherwise, I will call you a liar if you say Islam says so.
So click on the Gemini and look at the pinned link. Do you not see the pinned link?
No. I don't care about the Gemini. Give me the
No,
number.
go to the pinned link. It tells you all the citations are there.
Okay, but why can't someone just send?
I already have the information. It's right there, man. Just click on it.
Okay, let's go and. It's weird that it comes from you and not the one who said it, but okay.
Well, I'm talking about the Sauda story. I'm not talking about the kissing of the boy story. I don't know.
Oh, you want the source with the kissing of the boy story? I can give that to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm talking specifically about what you just read. Because, hey,
Which one?
The thing that he kissed the boy or man or whatever.
Yeah. All right, then post. Yeah, fine. Fine.
Yeah, that
fucking
specifically.
That already, but I already posted it on the side chat, but I'll find it again.
I clicked on your link. It speaks of Adam and Eve. What do you mean?
No, it doesn't. You must have clicked on. I've sent a lot of links up in this on the chat. Let me just bring it.
Maybe I got it confused, but just clarify it. Want the source?
Sure. Let's go and get the source.
From an authentic hadith.
An authentic hadith for you?
Yeah, I never heard anything like this within Sahih al-Bukhari, Muslim, never. What are you talking about?
So, we got Musnad Ahmad here, so let me just bring it up. Not here. Yeah, here it is. So, this is from. So, I'm just putting it again on the side chat for you guys. There you go.
Alright, let's check this out. Alright, this is from
A Reddit source. Okay, let's read it, but it's from Reddit. Okay, just keep that in mind.
apparently these are all weighted as Sahih. It's interesting. Okay, so you got narrated by Abu Huraira. I've not stopped loving this man after I saw the messenger do what he did. I saw Al-Hassan sit on the lap of the Prophet, put his fingers in the beard of the Prophet, and the Prophet put his tongue in his mouth. Then he said, "Oh Allah, I love him so much." And then narrated by Ya Allah Amiri, he put one hand under the back of his neck, then under his chin. Then he placed his mouth on his mouth, kissing him. Narrated by Mu'ayyiya, I saw the messenger suck on his tongue. Or he said his lip, meaning that Al-Hassan ibn Ali peace be upon him, and no tongue or lips have been sucked by the messenger. No tongue or lips have been sucked by the messenger of Allah will be tormented, no. And it says all of these hadiths are classed as Sahih.
So actually, look what I'm gonna do, okay? Because first of all, the first red flag is from a Reddit link, okay? So clearly, Phoenix was not honest on his initial research. He didn't went on a Muslim website to search actual Muslim hadith. No, he actually went probably on Google and said, let's find out something about Muhammad. And then the first thing that appeared was a Reddit link with an image, a picture someone could have written down himself, right? So I think this is a red flag for me from the start, okay? But I'm gonna give attention to it. I'm gonna actually try to find this source in a official website. So yeah, let's see if this is actually honest or dishonest. I'm curious. Plus, I'm gonna read this in Arabic, obviously, because we want to see what it says in the original. Anyone could, that's the point. Anyone could take any text, switch it up and just twist the meaning out of it and try to make it a.
Cool. So I'm now on hadithunlock.com, and it says, I still love the man after seeing him kiss the boy on the tongue or whatever. And it is rated as Dahabi, which is rated as sound. Okay. So it's a sound hadith. Okay, so that's one
No, well,
there.
here it says, by the way, I just want to say this. The first search I did, Qaboos is labeled not to be taken as a proof or weak memory. This is the first search. Simple search. That's the first thing I see. And the Reddit source says it's an authentic hadith. This is obviously, there's an obvious contradiction. That's first. So yeah, you could.
I'm on hadithunlock.com, and this one says it's a sound chain. It says it's Arnaut. I don't know what that means exactly. Arnaut.
Could you do you mind sending me the reference?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. That's it. Arnaut means. Oh, he's a scholar, and that scholar said that it's a sound chain. Cool. So, famous scholar said this is a sound chain, and it says, I saw the messenger licking his tongue and kissing his lips with the boy. Cool. This is, you're being fucking denialist about this stuff. This thing is, there are multiple sound hadiths that say that he's kissing young boys with his tongue, and you're just like, no, I don't believe it. You can just literally take the image that's from the Reddit, punch it in the ChatGPT, say, give me citations on these, then follow the links for the citations, and it'll take you to the site that I just found, which is hadithunlock.com, and it'll tell you who graded it and who was the scholar that decided it was authentic.
Look, I'm on an official website right now, okay? Look what it says.
So am I. Hadithunlock.com is an
Okay,
official website.
could you send a link so then at least I understand what you're looking.
Why are people so fucking unfathomably lazy? Unfathomably lazy. I just told you the easiest thing I did in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
I took the image,
but
I put it in
that's the
ChatGPT,
whole point.
I said, give me a citation, and then it gave me a link. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. And these people are so fucking lazy. Okay.
Or even pin in above, I don't know.
Alright, there. Hadithunlock.com. 4791. Can you now look at the link that you made me go get for you, even though it was trivial for you to get for yourself? There's some fucking gall of some people. Oh, I don't believe it until you give me the link, even though the link is trivial to find. And then I fucking find the link, you don't even click it. I'll read the hadith from hadithunlock.com. The narration is from Abbas Muhammad Yaqub
to Al Hassan, Afan, to Himani, to Sufyan, to Abu Hind, to Muhammad Sirin, to Hurayan. I still love this man after seeing the Prophet of Muhammad doing what he was doing. I saw Hassan come to the Prophet's room, and while he was putting his fingers to the Muhammad beard, I saw the Prophet putting the tongue in his mouth, and he said, "Oh Allah, I love him so much. You should love him." That's it. And it's great as sound. It's great as sound.
Okay, so I read this one. Okay, this is talking about like one of his grandchildren. He was a baby. Okay, but even that, I'm gonna say there's an official. Right now I'm on an official website. It gives the grading of that hadith. Please could you at least do a copy, paste it on ChatGPT, and say grade that hadith if it is authentic or da'if. Here I have 3 independent sources that says it's da'if. It's not even authentic.
Even if it was not, even if it was authentic, what's the problem with it? In the States, the woman.
It means if it's not backed up by a change,
Understood.
chain of narration, it's just
In the States, women kiss their sons on the mouth, and they do that. So do they say that? Oh, this is disgusting. What is that? Yeah, but like
I'm just saying.
No one tongue kisses their child. No one tongue kisses their child.
Why do you consider tongue kissing, like, I don't know, like maybe they did not have the idea of tongue kissing as a sexual thing. You know, it's French. French
so it says the Prophet.
I'm just saying this is a Shia report.
When the Prophet says put his tongue in his mouth, when it says that the Prophet put his tongue in his mouth, I shouldn't interpret that to mean he put his tongue in his mouth. Is that what you're trying to get me to say?
I said that it was not interpreted as sexual thing.
No. Listen. I'm just saying that this is a source.
You're laughing. Give me your answer. Would you allow me to put the tongue in your son's mouth? Let's see if that's
sources.
Because now.
Let's establish this. Second of all, if you look at what they themselves say, there's 3 independent sources. Look, I could quote it to you. Ibn al-Qattani, Ibn al-Salah also graded this report as da'if. Okay, first one. Here another one. Yaman bin Sa'id al-Masisi, who is ranked as da'if. Another one. Like, all the sources, it doesn't take much. You take it, you look if there is a break in the chain. If there is a break in the chain, it's just a rumor. It's not authentic. And people is going to go specifically in our graded narrations that are weak in order to kind of bring a claim. It doesn't work like this. You have to take from authentic sources. Now, the Reddit claim or the Reddit polemy could say, yeah, oh look, this is authentic, but yeah, he could lie. He could just take something from our weak sources and say it's authentic, and then everyone believes it. I'm gonna show you the proof of what I'm saying. I'm gonna send the link right now. Yeah, for me.
So I'm reading it right now. It shows as Sahih. I'm showing that it shows as Sahih. But you're not listening. I'm showing that it shows as Sahih. Are you hearing me? Am I audible? Sam, am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I'm showing it as a Sahih narration. Grading by Al-Hakim. Al-Hakim graded as Hadith as authentic according to the conditions of Sahih Muslim. Grading by Al-Dahabi. Agreed with Al-Hakim's grading his Taqis al-Mustadrak. Confirmed it as Sahih. So there you go. So I'm not showing what you're saying. I'm showing that it's being graded as Sahih.
Okay, go to the link I sent you right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying there's going to be competing gradings, right? On one hand, some people say it is Sahih and other people say it is Da'if. So now you've got competing problems because there's some people that say it's not.
I mean,
You're trying to say that it's 100% daif.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
mean, with all
It's
due
true.
respect, that's
Well,
not.
not according to Hindu research.
No, it is. You took that source from a Shia tradition, and from the Shia tradition, you went out and you took it from the weakest source they have. Bro, they say, look at the link I sent you. They themselves will say to you, it's a weak source. It's not authentic. Look it up.
Yeah,
So no, I just did look it up, and this is not a Shia source. So now,
by the way,
I asked, is this a Shia source? And it says no. All was to Stadrak, Allah al Sihiryan by al Hakim. Yeah, it is a Hadith collection. So you're not lying.
So here's another one here from Al-Adab al-Mufrad. Same hadith, by the way, Al-Adab al-Mufrad 1183, and it's been graded by Sahih by Albani himself. Sorry, Hassan by Albani himself. So this has actually been graded as Hassan by Albani himself. And you know, Albani is probably one of the greatest muhaddiths there is. So if you're going to go against Albani in this regards, then go ahead, try doing that.
Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna do it like that. If you present a claim like this, you wanna claim it's sahih, you have first to quote me the musnad. I want to hear the musnad actually. So then we will make sure you're actually going to the sources. So cite me the musnad. I want the verified chain one by one, all the names. Present them to me right now with with who said it, like who reported, who said it was authentic. Go ahead. If you're not able to do this, you're the liar, because I'm gonna do it.
Shut the fuck up! You don't know what you're talking about. You don't stand here and say every time we have to give you the whole chain of narration. We don't have to do that every time you say something.
Now notice the standard.
You're not just coming and bringing lies and rumors. That's it.
Guys, now notice the standard here. Now, first of all, these are muhaddithin. This is literally their job to actually grade hadiths. Now, he wants to be a muhaddith. He wants to be like those guys who have actually sat down and have gone through isnad chains and have actually did their work and have come to a conclusion and say, now I'm the one who's going to come to a conclusion. Give me the isnad chain for that. See the standard?
No, that's not true. That's not true.
He is now giving himself an ijaza to say that I can do whatever hadith is right, Hasan or Sahih. Did you see the crazy standard here, guys?
Okay, no, that's not actually what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the following. I just showed you a source, direct source, where you could read it. There's 3 independent scholars that will tell you why it is da'if. And then
I quoted to Albani.
No, this is Albani. Listen. This guy is saying the opposite. So therefore,
This is Albani.
Investigate.
hold on, guys.
You're gonna have to recite your truth. If you can't do so, you're a liar.
I mean,
This is Albani giving his rating.
you made a mistake. You sent a link to a different hadith that is graded. You sent the one where he's allegedly kissing the genitals, not to the one where he's sucking on his thumb.
That's the one we're talking about. No.
No. If you go further up, they were talking about a different one. You mixed them up.
I'm gonna just 1 moment.
TA doctor, could you mute yourself since the funny noise is coming from your face?
Sorry, sir.
I, by the way, linked my source for the isnad chain for Albani that says Hassan. Yeah, basically like you're saying that the Prophet sat with his grandson and molested his mouth. in a mosque where people could go in. So is that your claim? Does anyone claim that the Prophet went into a mosque with his grandson, who was like literally a baby, and started doing something sexual to him, and it was not okay at the time? That's how you argue it, I mean.
Okay, now we have the link to the actual Sunnah.com. And I mean, you will see it's not the one that you referenced. You referenced one where it's talking about genitals. I've heard about this one as well. It's not that one.
I thought it was. I thought we were.
No, it's okay. It's okay. There's so many.
This is my mistake. I'm gonna research the other.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. And again, I personally, I don't see the relevance of such a hadith. I wonder why such things are narrated. At that time and in that place, this meant nothing. I don't even see what is to be imitated. What does this hadith teach the faithful? Yeah, I'm not saying this is wrong or that this particular hadith, to which Phoenix Fly just sent the link in Sunnah.com. What is the value for the believers to narrate something like that? I really wonder.
So what are we doing now?
Yeah, I'm literally saying now. I'm trying to find who reported that. What's the chain? Is it authentic? So now this is a research I'm doing. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you if this is truly authentic or not. That's what we said.
Well, it's Sunnah.com and it quotes Al-Albani as grading it Hassan, so there you go. I'd actually myself be interested to see the full chain, to see who is at the very, very beginning of that chain. Because I think that is far more important than than the actual chain, but never mind.
Well, according to what I have, it says Abu al-Abbas Muhammad ibn Yaqub. Right? That's the first, and it goes to that, to al-Hassan, from that to Abu Yahya, and then from Sufyan to Nu'ayan, and Muhammad ibn Sirin, and Abu Hurairah. There is a chain. It's not like there's not a chain. There's a chain here that shows that that came from somebody, right?
Could you say
chain of 8 narrators before Al-Hakim recorded his collection, right? So there's 8 narrators prior to Al-Hakim that narrated that same one. So what happens is you'll just move the goalpost and go, well, that's not enough. It needs to be 9 or it needs to be 10 or whatever, right? Nothing's going to satisfy him because he just wants to say it's daif. And no evidence to the contrary will make you change.
So I just looked it up. So
did I.
Did some people say it's Hassan? The answer is yes. Okay, there are people who said this is Hassan, but there's actually contradiction. Why? Because here I see that Ibn al-Qittan al-Fasi, he said that it is da'if because it is considered by Abdurrahman al-Jarashi, who is majhul. We say he's unknown. People don't actually know.
Yeah, but remember, you started off saying it was fully Shia and it wasn't even like worth your time, right?
Listen,
and then we showed you that wasn't true.
No, there was a mix-up.
Yeah, I thought it was about another quotation. So that was another place. Now I'm specifically on here it is. It's Musnad Ahmed number 16, 848. That's the one.
But the point is what happens is if you get a bunch of people that are saying that it's at least Hassan or Sahih, right? And then you got one person saying no, it's Daif, right? You're not going to be able to stand here with a straight face and tell us that it's just a Daif, it's a Daif Hadith, and we're just ridiculous for even saying anything about it, right?
It's
worse
the
than that.
scholars that said it because
Yeah.
there's a variant. There's a variant of the same report. Since there's a variant of the same report, and in the chain there's someone who's unknown, there's a red flag there already.
Okay,
Because the hadith,
Sorry, I just want to do it in German. I'm sorry.
It's so much more. So the definition of confirmation bias is when you act, when any evidence you don't like, you go, am I forced to believe it? And anything that like you want to believe, you go, am I allowed to believe it? Like if they're a Christian, you have different standards of evidence for things that you don't want to believe versus what you do want to believe. That's just the definition of fucking confirmation bias. That's why everyone is fucking living their little deluded bubbles of confirmation bias. So when we're showing you evidence that is graded as Sahih or Hassan, you should go, that is evidence that is those things. Now you finding one guy who's Daif does not then tell you that, oh yeah, it's definitely not fucking Sahih. You should say, oh, well here are multiple people saying it's Sahih and Hassan, and you found one person, and then you shouldn't fucking do confirmation bias. You should weigh them equally.
I got you, but what I'm saying is this. The first initial claim I heard, and I don't know if the Reddit, I'm going to look up after what the Reddit post says, okay? The first claim I heard was that the hadith was authentic. It is false. This is a lie. First of all, no, the hadith is not authentic. The hadith is and was graded by some scholars Hassan. Okay. Now I agree to that. Let's keep on moving.
What is Hassan means reliable, right?
Damn.
Hassan means, no, let's just get our terms right. When you say Hassan means reliable, right? I know, I understand that, just define the term. What does Hassan mean?
Al-Arnadut, it is da'if. That's the point. So
does Hassan mean reliable, yes or no?
So from what I heard and what I researched, so
you're just afraid to answer. You're afraid to answer.
It's
does Hassan mean reliable? Yes or no?
It's Sahih. The Hobby rates it as Sahih.
Sahih means authentic, and Hassan means reliable, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So if there's multiple people and there's a clear chain showing that it's either Hassan or Sahih. You can't just because of one person saying it's Daif, you can't throw that out. Your own Sunni, your own Sunnah would not allow you to do that, right? Those are authentic chains from life.
Here's the full claim. The full claim is it's not even just Hassan. It's Hassan and Daif. You know why? Because that's what the scholars have reported about that saying. So to come off first and say, no, it's a hadith that is sahih, authentic, as if everyone's going to say, oh, it's authentic for them. Perfect, we got them. No, actually, it's not just Hassan, it's Hassan and Da'if. You need to understand that.
So, I don't even know what any of that means, but I'll just say this, like, it shows, well, hold on, you talked. I said, Al-Hakim labeled the Isnad as Sahih, meaning it means the conditions of authenticity of Bukhari or Muslim. And Al-Dahabi affirmed this status as well, right? So, and all the narrators in the chain are recognized as trustworthy or thiqa, and honest means Saduk, right? By classical scholars, including Sufyan, Muhammad ibn Sirin, Nu'aym ibn Abi Hind, and Abu Yahya al-Hamiyani, right? So, those people are considered authentic. They're not considered to be liars. They're considered to be reliable people, right? So it's not going to be upon you to say something like, hey, even though these people said it's Sahih or Hassan, that you can just throw it out the window. You cannot do that under your own jurisprudence.
There is a variant from another report in the chain, meaning there's a red flag. That's what I pointed out.
But if you have 8 people saying it's good and one person saying it's bad,
It's
I mean,
not a
can you
monologue.
just
We're
give me
gonna
a
have
second
discussion.
to, like,
Hear my claim, alright? So there is a variant. That's one. Second, I told you, look at the scholarly consensus on these hadith. You will come up with two definitive claims. Do the research. Don't believe me. Do the research. Look for sources for that. You will see. It is disputed. It is either Hasan, which means reliable, or Da'if, which means weak. So it is in one of these two categories, not the first claim that Phoenix said when I came into the discussion, which he claimed that it was sahih, authentic, with no dispute. You need to understand the difference, guys. Because if you don't understand that difference,
Alright, MD, go.
you'll have a difficulty to.
Alright, MD, what's up? What's up, MD? You've been wanting to talk for a while. What's up?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to have a short discussion on this thing. So I was listening for a while, and I think that as you have respectfully said that there are two opinions. The first one is which brother have said that some scholars says that it's the hadith, and some says that it's an Hassan. So I'm assuming that you already know about what Hassan means actually. The thing is, which I feel is which is more important to establish is that how do you define this as a sexual act, first of all? What are the foundations of establishing this thing as a
So
sexual
never said it
act?
was sexual. We just said he tongue kissed a young boy.
Yeah, so from this thing, what do you want to establish?
That he tongue kissed a young boy. That's it.
So what does this define actually?
Listen, I don't give a fuck if he tongue kissed someone. I think it's much more evil that he did other things. A lot of
So how does
Muslims
exactly?
are very homophobic.
How does it deter?
Many Muslims are very
That's what the question is.
homophobic, and the fact that you guys are freaking out about that this might be Sahih seems that you think that it's bad.
I'm not going on
You don't
that
just
way.
say, oh, maybe he did tongue kiss the young boy, whatever, no big deal. But you don't feel that way because you guys are the ones that are freaking out about the idea that maybe Muhammad is doing gay shit.
Sorry, I just want to know. I just ask you a simple question: how do you think that's an evil thing, or that's something which is disputable, something like that?
Okay. I think it's immoral to tongue kiss in a pedophilic way young children. I think this
So how do you have to first establish that it was a pedophilic way?
Said, I don't give that much of a fuck about this. It's much worse to do other things that Muhammad did. It is you guys, if you want to say, hey, it's not morally bad to tongue kiss children, men to tongue kiss children, you can say that, then why are you fighting on us that it's maybe Sahih? Because we're not claiming that it's Hassan. We're claiming that it's Sahih. That there are two different
I'm not
scholars
disputing on that. You're just wasting your time. I'm saying that whatever. Let's say for example it's a Sahih or it's a Hassan for example. So you have to define how does the act established as pedophilia. You have to define that first.
Okay. Usually what we mean by pedophilia is doing sexual things with young children. So usually what we mean by sexual acts is kissing, touching the genitals of, touching the breasts of, touching the anus of, penetrating. It's usually what we mean by sexual acts. So if I tongue kiss, a 13-year-old girl, most people say that's sexual because kissing, penetrating, breast touching, butthole touching, pussy touching, those things are what we usually call as sexual activities.
Okay, so let's make this as a foundation. Let's start with the kissing thing. So if a parent
You said
or a
tongue kissing.
grandparent has
Tongue kissing. People don't. We're not talking about just lips touching to somebody. That's not in question. The idea is that you tongue kiss somebody. Nobody in this world thinks that that's not
no
sexual.
problem with that. Please.
So we're not going to argue with you. We're not going to have you say you need to establish that tongue kissing somebody is not considered sexual. We're not going to have that discussion.
Please don't extend that. I am not debating on that thing.
So you accept that tongue kissing is bad? Is sexual?
No, I don't.
So what do you mean you're not debating? That is the debate. The debate is tongue kissing considered a
So that's
sexual
what I'm
act?
establishing. Yeah, that's what I'm establishing. According to you, it's a sexual act, and according to the different cultures, it can be different. For example, So you believe that kissing genitals and kissing all these like lip kissing, let's say for example you term the lip kissing of children is termed as a sexual act. So tongue kissing
I
is
can't,
for example.
it's always funny to me, Sam, the fucking bullets that Muslims will bite, right? They just bite the goofiest bullets ever, right? They're standing here trying to say, like, you
So
need to
first I just
establish
want
that
to
shoving your tongue down somebody's mouth is not considered sexual. You need to establish that.
Yeah.
I don't have any reason to think it is sexual.
No, it's easy. It's very clear. It's very. So, brother, can you give me a second? Give me a second,
In
please.
front of other people, okay? Just
So I mean, you asked me to look. I mean, you asked me to look up. You asked me to look up the Chat GPT. So here's what I said. I said, are there any scholars that rated it as weak, and if so, why? It's this great question. Hadith 4791 was graded Sahih and affirmed by Al-Dhahabi, and some later Sunni scholars questioned the reliability of certain narratives that it's changed. Here's what the scholar was like. No, I'm not. We're not. This was a discussion before, right? Some scholars of Hadith criticism didn't necessarily reject the text, but they raised concern about the specific narrators of the Isnad. Here's the key figures in question, right? And so it says some early critics like Ibn Ma'in and Ibn Hibban considered him weak. Others like Al-Nasai and Al-Barakti noted errors in his hadith. The defense is, however, others like Ibn Adi thought his narrations were acceptable in non-legal contexts, especially if supported by other chains. Right? So the conclusion, the majority of classical scholars accepted the hadith due to its strong emotional and spiritual content and the general reliability of most narrators. A few scholars noted potential weakness in the isnad, mainly due to Ibn Yahya al-Hamani, but not enough to fully dismiss the hadith, especially the category of virtues, where standards are slightly more lenient. So there you go. You asked me to do the research, I did it for you.
So there you go. You just proved it's not an offense.
So, no.
Thank you very
What do you mean?
much.
It didn't prove it at all.
You
It
just
didn't
proved
fucking.
it. Bro,
What are you talking about? It said that most people thought it was authentic. There was a handful of people that didn't.
now
Yeah,
you just
but that
proved
is
your
enough
point.
doubt. You have to
The
just
point.
there is enough doubt for somebody like Amin to come and say he doesn't accept it. I totally accept Amin's logic on this one. I have to say that.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? The point is the Sunni, in Sunni jurisprudence, you are not allowed to just outright reject hadiths that are considered Sahih or Hasan, right? Now you could say, well, there was one or two people that thought they weren't, but most of the people do. And that would just not be going within jurisprudence of the Sunni, right? Not at all. In the context of the Sunnah, that's not going to work.
If you want to convince a Muslim, and then there is this little slither of a doubt on a hadith like this, do you think they're not going to take it? I would take it. I would do exactly the same thing if somebody came with some, manuscript from the church fathers or something like that, and I saw even the slightest slither of doubt on a strange, I'll just term it strange.
No, you're just going to
Confirmation bias. That's just confirmation bias.
you're just explaining confirmation.
If I show you 10 studies that say, oh, this is the effect of minimum wage, and then there's one study that contradicts the 10, and you go, I'm going to go with the one. That's you just being literal, heavy confirmation bias. It's just the definition of confirmation bias. Now, I'm showing you right now that Scorpion said, likely refers, is a highly reliable translator. Nuyam Abihin Muhammad is all considered thiqa. Abu Yahu, Al-Himana, and Al-Hassan Ibn Affan are also accepted in hadith circles. No known breaks in the chain, no accusations of tatless, concealment. It is endorsed by major scholars such as Al-Hakim and Al-Dhahabi, who said they're both said it's sahih. It's consistent with other narrations. There are multiple authentic hadiths showing the Prophet expression to Al-Hassan and Al-Hussein. There's no known contradiction with the Quran. So it is not okay for you to just say, well, I don't like it, so I'm going to throw it out. That is just confirmation bias. At best, here's what you can say is, hey, it's probably true, but there's a little bit of doubt. That's what you can say.
Okay, thank you. Can I speak if you allow? Sorry. Thank you.
Okay.
So first, let's go in a very simple and logical way. Let's say, for example, and just please let me know who I'm talking to, either Sam or Tim or Luna. So, yeah, thank you. So, and just to be respectful, I want that please others don't kind of like jump in between. If you want, you can raise your hand. So it will be like a very good conversation where people can understand everything, even in the audience as well. So first of all, let's give you the benefit of doubt. And let's say I do agree with you in terms of like many scholars say that, for example, it's Hassan. Yeah, so we have consensus that there are some scholars who is agreeing. I don't have any problem with that. The thing which you have to establish first of all is this, as I discussed earlier, is that you have to establish that the tongue kissing is something pedophilic. We have to first establish that foundation. So, just to ask you a clarification question to Sam, because I'm back to you. So, can you define, first of all, that if a parent or a grandparent is touching his or her own kid or grandkid in a tongue, so do you think, or on lips, let's say for example, is it pedophily according to you?
Yeah, so there are a number of, yes, and a number of actions that have
So
taken.
what evidence do you have?
Here's some things that if I saw a parent do to their child, I would say it was child molestation. So if I saw a parent tongue kiss, blow a job, stick their tongue in the anus, stick their penis in their anus, put their penis in their vagina,
as well.
rubbing their penis in their breast, sucking on their breast, I would consider all of these child molestation.
Okay, just can we stick to the thing which we have, just which we're discussing about the tongue kiss? Are you bringing all sort of multiple things into the same thing?
You wanted to know what standard to judge something as child molestation, and I gave you them.
Yeah. So what does it? Okay. So just to be very streamlined, what is your evidence of like if you believe that that tongue kissing by someone is deemed to be a sexual act? So what is your evidence? Is it just what you believe, or is it coming from something which is very solid?
Well, given that if most men, if they caught their wives tongue kissing other men, they would divorce them. Given that throughout all of American culture and Western culture, they define first base as tongue kissing, and second base as titty kissing, and third base as blowjobs, and it's like considered the first base on the sort of sexual escalation ladder. The fact that tongues are erogenous zones, and that like it's a very common thing to do during sex to tongue kiss someone. Those are sort of 3 lines of evidence.
Okay, so if you can, you just correct me as well. So what I can comprehend from your speech was that you're saying that according to the Western values, the tongue kissing is deemed to be an act of pedophilia, even if it's done by the parent or a grandparent. Please just let me know if I'm wrong.
You asked me whether it's sexual or not. You didn't ask me whether it counts as pedophilic or not.
You talked about the act.
Yes, the act of tongue kissing.
And the act. Just let me clarify my position as well.
1% of the world considers tongue kissing to be a sexual act? See what ChatGPT has to say about the matter.
You can ask ChatGPT, no problem with that. But the thing is that you talked about the act. So act also have kind of like an intention behind it. So we will not debate on that. Whatever intention can be. I'm just concerned about the act thing. So you have to, as you said, according to Western values, if someone, is it either parent or grandparent or any other random guy who kisses on child's tongue is an act of pedophilia. Just please clarify on that if I'm correct on that to your answer.
Is that a common practice in the Eastern world to tongue kiss?
Can you clarify that someplace?
Well, what you're saying is what we see it, how we see it in the Western world. So I'm asking you, is that culturally acceptable in the Eastern world for grandparents and parents to tongue kiss their children? Is that a thing?
Yes, I'll give you some examples, but just to give you a more respectful thing. I was talking to Sam. If Sam allows you, so you can take his position as well. Because I want to talk to one person at a time. It's very similar.
I asked, in the Arab world, would you be allowed to tongue kiss men who are not your husband? And it says, in the Arab world, tongue kissing a man who is not your husband would almost universally be considered sexual inappropriate, moral misconduct, tantamount to cheating, a form of zina.
Talking about, you say, who are the subjects? The husband? Are you talking about how do you talk about husband?
I said, if a woman tongue kisses a man who is not the woman's
So in the hadith, it is a woman and man.
I'm giving you evidence that tongue kissing is seen as sexual.
So you're choosing the wrong subjects here.
Why
is it talking about a grandparent and a child? So you have to take those two foundations to establish that.
I'm talking about tongue kissing. Let's about tongue kissing. And in the Arab world, tongue kissing is considered sexual. It says overwhelmingly that you could lead to legal punishment in Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. It could be considered fornication, aka zina. It is not acceptable in any Arab world to tongue kiss someone who is not your wife or your husband. You cannot do it.
Oh, no, that, so what? I don't disagree with you on that part. So what's the problem?
Okay,
I'm talking
the problem
about.
is that you're.
I'm talking about.
I'm gonna make a bigger picture here. A bigger picture here. The bigger picture here is it is widely considered immoral to tongue kiss young children because we're in the West. We consider it pedophilia.
So you have to.
But I will say,
use the same ChatGPT to find.
Shut the fuck up when I'm in the middle of speaking. Are you actually fucking broken that you can't just let me finish a thought? So the problem with Muhammad's character is he had sex with a 9-year-old named Aisha. He had sex with a sex slave like Maria the Coptic. He married a woman right after killing her husband, that's Safiya. He initiated aggressive military actions against Kitover. He owned slaves. He traded 2 black slaves for an Arab slave. He stopped visiting his second wife because she was getting too old and started visiting Aisha instead. And then he tongue kissed a young boy. The Prophet Muhammad is not a moral man. It is he is a warlord, pedophile, murderer who has sex with slaves. He's a slave rapist, a slaver. He's a homosexual, kisses young boys. He's a pedophile. And you're trying to tell me that he is the beacon of the world who we should follow. The view is clownish. And it's unbelievable. And what you should do, rationally, when hearing this information is go, I will not be a Muslim anymore because this is silliness. This is childish silliness.
Just a quick moment. I need to go. I need to go to sleep, Sam. Goodbye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. So are you finished your son?
Yeah.
Perfect. So coming back to the same thing again, the thing that you have found out on ChatGPT, you yourself have made it very clear. It talked about a man kissing another woman on the tongue. The thing that you were discussing before, if I'm not wrong, was about the hadith where Prophet Muhammad was having a tongue kiss with his grandchild. So why don't you just search that as well if you want, and let us know if it's in our culture. And apart from that, even so before you search or meanwhile any other person who's having from the Western values, they can maybe answer that. What if you meet a new guy who's an Arab, or let's say for example, let's talk about in USA for example, you meet someone, a random new strange person, and you start to kiss on their cheeks, you start to kiss on their nose, you start to kiss on their head, meeting their new person. So is it act of what you would consider? Is it a gay act? Somehow?
Can I tongue kiss you by the chance? Would you consent to tongue kissing me?
I'm not talking about the tongue kiss. I want you to hear my.
I would like to tongue kiss you.
Sam, this is honestly the dumbest line of reasoning I've ever heard. It's so stupid.
Can you just stop trash talking?
No, I can't, because like what you're saying is so stupid. You're trying to say something like the burden of proof is on us to prove to you that tongue kissing somebody is not sexual.
If you're gonna jump in between, there's no point of talking because.
Can we tongue kiss, MD, please? I'm begging you, man. Please tongue kiss me.
Yo.
in the Muslim world, it says tongue kissing between an adult and a child, even if they're related, like a grandfather or granddaughter, which can be considered inappropriate, uncomfortable, even disturbing. It says that most Muslims today do not engage in such practices and view that kind of contact as strange and inappropriate, even if it was meant affectionately and not sexually. So yes, in most Muslim countries today, it would be seen as inappropriate. That's what it says on ChatGPT.
See,
Let me get this right.
yeah, what are your phones are you can help you with it?
So let me get this right. This is the person that has come into this room that is just trying to justify Muhammad's French kissing a little boy. Is that what's going on there?
Yeah, to me, I don't know why people are defending this narration because it's weak. Like, you just put
Sahih.
narration chat.
It's Sahih and it's Hassan.
It's Sahih. It's created as Sahih.
The chain is broken.
No, it's not.
It's not broken. No. Are you Muhammad? Nizam. Are you Muhammad?
No, it's like
Just let me finish, then I'll be.
I mean,
because there's a lot of trash talking going on. There's just a bias.
The audience on my screen.
you guys read it?
Nizam.
You guys can speak for religion if you want.
Yeah, because it seems like I have to quote you. I have to quote you in this case because. No. First of all, are they even muhaddith? It's Muslim Ahmed, dude. It's Muslim Ahmed.
Yes. Wait, what? What?
Are they muhaddithin?
Hold on.
No.
The narration.
We're not talking about this, dude. You have no idea what we're talking about. It's not the one on my PTR. We're talking about the hadith. We're talking about the hadith that says that your prophet French kissed his own grandson. That's the one that
I saw that. I know. It's the one that Sam posted. Al-Hakim, which is not Muslim Ahmed, it's difficult. It's Al-Hakim 4791.
There are three hadiths that we posted. One of them was Muslim Ahmed, and the other one is the one that you're currently reading, which is Hakim. So there are many different narrations of the same event. It's a multiple sourced hadith.
To be honest, my first instinct as a Muslim is to say that, like, it wouldn't be befitting of the Prophet to do something like that, right? Like French kissing and whatever, or putting his tongue in a child's mouth.
The more important question is, if your prophet did it, are you okay with it?
No, but that doesn't mean that like it doesn't. Like, it may chip away my belief in being a Muslim a little bit, even if it's, let's say, true, if I grant it that, like, this is something that actually happened, it's authentic. Like, that may like raise some questions, right? Like, why would the Prophet do this? But again, like, I would appeal to, like, maybe something that was contextual, maybe something that was okay at the time, maybe that was like a custom or something, like, you know. I mean, but to be honest with you, I can't find like an authentic narration that you know. If you can post the one,
we found them. We found them.
Post the one posting the one, because the one that Sam posted in the chat, the one in Hakim 4791, that one is weak. That one is broken.
I can even show you al-Adab al-Mufrad. I can even show you al-Adab al-Mufrad, where basically even Albani grades it as Hassan, but still it's better. It's still reliable. It's 100% reliable.
Yeah, I mean, we can. No, of course. Okay, look. The other thing that needs to be clarified is that there can be a hadith that is sahih, meaning that its grade is very correct. It's a very high graded hadith. Like it's like it's preserved. The confidence that we have that the Prophet said or did something is very high. But that doesn't mean that it has to be sahih to follow. Not every hadith is something that we have to. For example, one time the Prophet said to kill Jews that broke the treaty and we're plotting against them. Like, he said that. Now I can quote the hadith to you. That doesn't mean that I have to kill all the Jews that I see now. There's certain instructions that the Prophet gave that were only applicable to a certain group of people at a specific time. So like, there's that aspect of just because it's sahih does not mean it's sahih to follow, right? And obviously the scholars of Islam that meticulously try to go through which ones were general commandments and which ones were specific to an individual or a group. Like, these things matter, right? So the ones that you would bring, we'd have to go through them again. But the
quoting Sunnah.com this time, so I'm not going to go get it from the Reddit post. So that's legit. So go ahead and read this.
And he said, "Oh, I love it, so love it." And well, in this one, there's no existing like this.
Put his mouth in his mouth, like, I love him, so love him. That's not. What the hell is wrong with you?
But let me. Very Hassan, Adawi will thrive.
He just said, he put his mouth in his mouth, and then he said, "Oh Allah, I love him, so love him, and the one who loves him." Dude, if I ever talk like that to my grandson, my own son would probably kick my ass.
Well, I'm not disagreeing that that's problematic, but let me just see like what the context is of this. Hold on. Let me just like.
Well, it's fine for you to go through that concept in his own, but the last guy that was talking was a total idiot. He was trying to say, well, you guys need to prove to me that tongue kissing is a sexual act, and why should I just take your assertion? Yeah, that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to make Sam and I like justify that tongue kissing somebody is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, look, like obviously, like,
fucking bullets, like.
Yeah. Like, you want to get some Muslims that don't know like the context or don't know like obviously like you.
Tell me what the context is.
Right? Like,
tell me what the context is.
Hold on. Even this one is weak. Even the one in the Al Quran is weak. Hold on.
Well, what you missed out. We went through a whole whether it was Saudi or Hassan for like 30 minutes.
Don't lie to me because I'm looking at the same page that I just posted. It says, yeah, Albani Hassan. It says it right there.
Yeah, Albani is someone that no one takes from, bro. Like, hold on.
Are you serious? Guys, Albani, nobody takes from
Hakim, Dahabi, and Albani, all graded as Sahih or as Hassan.
I think it's one of the greatest, most famous
Phonics, isn't it crazy? These two routes that these Muslims are going, one route the Muslims are going are it's not sexual, and the other route is that, oh yeah, all these scholars that say Sahih, they don't count. It's like fucking crazy, the fucking gymnastics.
This is crazy, dude.
You know what? I'll tell you what. So Albani wrote Sahih again. He wrote Bukhari again. He wrote Muslim again. He deemed a lot of hadith that were Sahih to be da'if. He made them weak. And he read a lot of weak narrations to be Sahih. He didn't have an agenda. And to be honest with you, the scholars of Islam will tell you that.
Dude, I want you to, here's what I want you to do. Okay, Islam. Here's what I want you to do. Okay, because I know the reputation of Albani. I know the reputation of Albani because I studied under, by the way, let me tell you who I studied under. I studied under Abdullah bin Humayd. Okay, if anybody knows who he is, he used to be the Chief Justice Minister of the Court of Chief Justice Minister of Saudi Arabia. Okay, he and his father studied, guess who, under Albani. So if you're going to tell me that one of the greatest scholars of all time, which by the way, he's known as one of the muhaddiths of all muhaddiths, okay, in this regards, and you're telling me that the vast majority of Muslims today don't actually consider him one of the greatest muhaddithin, I want you to go to your local mosque right now, record, saying, by the way, I think Albani is a liar, a deceiver, and he should not be considered a muhaddith.
Wait. No.
You do that, and then you come back.
Look. First of all, it doesn't work like that. Like, okay, let me just read this, yeah? The English translation of Fadakila Nisana Fihi, right? It's translated as putting his mouth in his mouth, right? But does this necessitate tongue kissing? No, that is a misinterpretation. This phrase in Arabic could also be the Prophet playfully touched Al-Hasan's mouth with his hand, a cultural expression of endearment for children like growing raspberries. Not a French kiss.
Shit's crazy, isn't it?
Practical scholars never understood this hadith as an intimate kiss. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani mentioned that the Prophet would suck on his grandchildren's fingers.
What are you reading?
Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani mentions that the Prophet Prophet would suck on his grandchildren's fingers or playfully touch their mouth as a sign of affection. So no kissing is going on. The hadith is weak. By the way, and again, on Sunnah.com is labeled Hassan, but in another place, it's Sahih al-Adab al-Mufrad, the one that Albani writes, when he reports this hadith in his book, he calls the same hadith Da'if. And then there's reasons for why it's Da'if.
Send your sources. Are you sure you're not talking? Okay, we had the same problem with the other guy where he was talking about sucking the penis. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that hadith of sucking the penis. We're talking about the one that he's sucking the tongue. Okay, you try to distinguish between the two hadiths because we have the same problem with the other guy. He's talking about his penis. We're not talking about the one the penis.
No, I get that, but from what I can tell, this translation of mouth to mouth is a literalistic translation, right? The expression in itself could just mean that he was sucking, like he was touching his mouth, or he was sucking his fingers as an expression of love. But anyway, that may sound like a cope and whatnot.
By the way, it does sound like a cope because I can actually read the Arabic, so I can actually read the Arabic, and it says what it says.
That's not. Yeah, but that's not the truth. That's fine. I agree. But again, for example, it's reading cats and dogs. When you read it, when it's in on paper, you'll read it's reading cats and dogs, right? And if someone were to translate that, it would translate it as
it's here in Arabic. Hold on. It says right there, which means his mouth. This is talking about mouth.
Yes. Classical scholars, look, an idiom is an idiom, right? Like the apparent wording of the idiom, it's raining cats and dogs, doesn't mean it's actually raining cats and dogs, right? So from what I can tell, this is an idiom.
This is not an idiom. There's no.
And by the way, you would have knowledge of that if you read Arabic poetry and you understood Arabic idioms that
I know.
used.
We're not talking about poetry. We're talking about reports. These are physical reports. They're not quoting poetry. They're literally telling you what's happening. This is description. It's different.
Only one classical scholar interpreted this hadith as meaning that there was tongue kissing mouth to mouth happening according to this hadith. Only one scholar. No. It is authentically the hadith. This expression is an idiom. How are you not? Okay, you're not.
So you're not. Listen. What does Hajar al-Asqalani say? Well, tell me exactly what this Fath al-Bari. Are you reading Fath al-Bari right now? Are you reading Fath al-Bari?
Do me a favor. Copy this hadith, Adab al-Mufrad 1183. Copy the whole hadith. Put it in ChatGPT and ask it what is the context of this hadith. Just do that for me.
Okay.
Do that for me. Yeah, do that.
ChatGPT? Why would I go ChatGPT when I can go to Sunnah.com?
No, copy the Sunnah.com hadith and ask ChatGPT for the context of this hadith. Just say, tell me, explain to me the context. And ask ChatGPT, is this to be understood as tongue to mouth French kissing, or is this an idiom that was used and the scholars understood it differently? Just do that. Do me a favor and do that for me. Because I just did that. And then ask it for the right references. Yeah. Do that for me and then let me know.
Alright, let's go.
Okay, but I just want to, while you're looking that up, I just want to talk to Nizam really quick, Nizam. Like, well, you gotta talk to your Muslim brotherhood, dude. They're bad. They're really bad, dude. They are freaking awful. Like, this guy was going to us, trying to tell us, you need to tell us why kissing somebody on the mouth is bad. And he just was trying to make it like our burden to show you that mouth kissing is bad and that's considered to be a, come on, dude. These guys are fucking terrible.
Like, you know what, like, Tim, obviously, like people just double down on anything that they hear, right? Like, oh, you put it in a hadith that has like 90 sections. Everyone is so afraid of like questioning the authenticity of something or trying to understand the context in which it's being said. Like, you know, like a lot of Muslims don't trust their intuitions. Like, obviously, like a normal person would say it's wrong. And you gotta take it easy with those guys, man. Like Tim, like. There's a lot of Muslims that you gotta be like if he comes back in the room, I'll be like, bro, like just first copy the hadith to the ChatGPT, ask it for context,
Sahih and reliable. That was his. He says, I don't have any problem accepting it that way. So he wanted to operate from that position.
Yeah, I'm considering it problematic though. Like, I mean, like I would never imagine the Prophet would do something like that and do a lot like that.
But isn't that a very like simplistic way of looking at societies and like anthropology? Because like, for example, kissing in the mouth hasn't always had the same implications. Like that we do it today.
Well, but I'm just asking, like here's the thing, like we're not talking about. Can we talk about any society that thought it was okay for adults to tongue kiss children? I'm not aware of any societies.
Yeah, they do.
No, there isn't.
I asked ChatGPT what is the context of this hadith. ChatGPT said that the expression used of like mouth to mouth, like he put his mouth inside his mouth, is an expression of love, and it could just mean that he was sucking on his fingers or something, or he was like blowing kisses.
The way that people showed affection changes. It's culturally constructed, and it changes across history and
so,
like.
Okay, well that's fine. Can you show us something that says that there were cultures that used to lick children's, put their tongues, adult tongues in children's mouth and French kiss them. Show us some. Put some.
French kiss them is like. See, this is the issue. Like, it's such an anachronism. You're using like modern tongues to just tongue kiss.
So we ran through ChatGPT already, and we couldn't find any cultures that showed that. But I'm open for you to show me some cultures.
Did you guys explore this? Did you guys explore this?
Yeah, we did, and we didn't find it. By the way, yeah, we've been here for an hour. We've been here for an hour.
I missed out.
So,
iPhone.
The ChatGPT hasn't said anything except that I'm going to like these Muslim websites. They're giving their opinions. I say, yeah, what's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm like, okay, this is not a good way of actually coming up with a source, because I'm looking for a medieval source that actually says, for example, in this regard, because they're just quoting a hadith saying, yeah, this was totally okay back in the day. What's wrong with people tongue kissing little boys? And that's all I'm hearing from, for example, here, Quran Bible Blog, which is basically .com, which is one. I've also looked into some Reddit posts to see if they can find me any sources in this regard in terms of Sharh al-Hadith, and I couldn't find any. And so I'm sorry, but I can't find. Yeah, I'm looking for so I'm looking at Sheikh Asif al-Hakim saying about tongue kissing, and it's saying, what's wrong with it? I tongue kiss my son all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy is.
Wait,
I just think it's been
who was the one who said that?
this whole dialect thing has been crazy when it comes to like people just saying, oh, it's not sexual to tongue kiss young boys, or oh, there's no way all these scholars that say it's Sahih can be taken seriously. We just completely dismiss them. It's just like confirmation. It's like people doing the most crazy mental gymnastics ever of like, oh, I don't like this, so it must either not be bad or not count as a fucking Sahih. You never can just say, yeah, maybe it is Sahih. Maybe I need to change my mind about Islam.
No, but let's be
never does that cross your mind. Because you're
Guys,
fucking stuck in confirmation bias.
Wait, let me speak.
It's fucking great. I'm a Zionist, but I was showing some evidence about the Gaza war recently that made me change my mind about the war. Why? Because I'm not a hack who doesn't change his mind with evidence. But you guys can never just change your mind. Never just consider evidence against your world.
A basic historical.
Hey, Noah, do you know what the rules of my house are?
Oh.
Out of curiosity, do you know what the rules are?
No, but I just want to.
There's two rules: is to get to a point quickly and to not interrupt. And you were breaking the rules. Don't interrupt me. So don't fucking do that.
That's the first time you crashed out on me.
Yeah, this is the first time you were fucking going crazy interrupting me.
No, because this is such a basic concept that I think you guys are failing to consider. Like, if it was in fact an abhorrent thing or an abominable thing that the Prophet did, right? And supposedly these people who are narrating it, right? Like, why would they narrate it without seeking to cope around it at the time? They
don't
just
talk
narrated
that.
It's bad.
Right. So
I can answer that. You asked a question. Yes, I can answer that, right? It seems as if when you look at what the life of Muhammad, right, there's a lot of things that he did that seem to be a little odd about, like him marrying his adopted son's wife and all that stuff. It seems like they became like very much apologists for Muhammad. Anytime he did something that was a little uncomfortable, they were like, "Well, Muhammad's doing it, so it must be okay." So I don't think it's a feather in your cap to say like, "Well, how come they didn't call him out at the time?" I don't think they called him out for a lot of crazy stuff that he did, and I think that's because they thought he truly was the prophet of God, and therefore what he did was.
That's a good point.
I would look at it more from like a more criterion of embarrassment kind of way, and assume that. I mean, I know it's not the criterion of embarrassment like per se, but it's a similar like principle where like if it was bad, they would either weaken that hadith or they would establish some kind of like strict copes or ways around it. But the fact that it was just narrated so casually and transmitted so casually attests to the fact that this was culturally conventional and not like bizarre.
I appreciate you saying that, but I would actually be more inclined to believe what Nizam said, that the word mouth to mouth didn't mean tongue kissing, and so it was not considered to be like a bad thing because that's not what it was meant, right? I would be more inclined to believe that than yours, where they're saying, well, maybe they were embarrassed and they didn't want to say anything about it, right? Because if you start saying something like that, Nuha, you're going to start basically saying like, oh, well, these people just started covering for Muhammad when they wanted to, and I don't think anybody wants to say that.
May I just say something real quick? So, first of all, I'm an Arab. This kind of activity is considered despicable and disgusting. We would never do that. Okay, to say that that's even culturally appropriate sometime back then, no, it wasn't. It never was, because the Christians never did it. The Jews never did it. And nobody used to do this stuff. There is no historical evidence of people sucking other people's tongues was totally okay, and even tribal mentalities would do that to their own grandson. It's disgusting. It's despicable. Never happened. We have not a single other person other than Muhammad in his own sources that has actually done this act. Nobody else except him. So why is it that he's the only guy who managed to do this? And we're saying, oh, this is what they used to do back then. How do you know that? We looked we scoured the entire internet trying to
Okay,
find
I'm gonna give myself some homework to look more into the like ethnographic kind of like literature, see what I can find on like affection and intimacy and stuff like that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Yoha. You and I both have talked before. You've seen some of the most problematic hadith. Like, the drinking of water standing up instead of sitting, like you have to sit down every time you have to drink water and all that nonsense. So to be honest, you know that there's some weird stuff in these hadiths. There's some really disturbingly mentally weird stuff in this hadith. Why can't this be one of them? Like it is what it is. Like we've read the Isnad chain. Actually, we quoted 3 different muhaddithin. One of them is Al-Dhahabi, which is one of the greatest muhaddithin of all time. And Al-Bani, saying that it's Sahih and Hasan.
Yeah. I'm not questioning the chain. I'm questioning whether it was perceived in the same light that we perceive it.
Yeah, if you can find me a single other person within Islamic sources who did exactly what Muhammad did, then you would have a point. But the problem is, nobody else did this except Muhammad. Muhammad is the only dude who ever French kissed his own grandson.
If that is the case,
any sources.
If that is the case, I'm gonna go research. If that is the case, I'll be inclined to agree. And I do agree with Sam. Like, if we start to weaken hadiths because of this like uncomfortable kind of hadith, it's kind of disingenuous, right? Like there's no. It's like everything just becomes like, I don't know, like unfalsifiable. Like you can just weaken or strengthen whatever hadith you want based on your intuitions. But yeah. Like there's no fixed standard.
No worries. Yeah, I agree.
Neil, I have a question for you. Do you think that people who kill themselves go to hell?
People who kill themselves go to hell. I think they'll get punished. It's a sin. It's probably a major sin. But if they're like, for example, Muslim, and then they kill themselves, I believe they still do go to heaven, right? Eventually. But they might go to hell temporarily, but yeah.
It seems like a little bit evil that someone was so depressed that they killed themselves to torture them more. Like they were already tortured by life. You torture them more. It seems like not very kind.
Do you reckon?
Yes.
I mean,
if I found out someone killed, okay, suppose here's what happens. My friend tries to kill himself, but he fails at killing himself. What I wouldn't then do is tie him to a chair and start like flaying his skin off or cutting his fingers off or like electrocuting him. Why? Because it's like an insane thing to do to someone who's depressed and needs help. So what God should do is instead of torturing someone who kills themselves, say, hey man, you're depressed, you need help, but I love you because I'm God and I'm merciful. So like any idea that you would have any hell at all, given how horrible it is to be in such a horrible life that you kill yourself, it just shows how cruel and ridiculous this God is. You should not torture people who kill themselves.
That's still like, it's still based on your moral intuitions. One can say it's
okay, you
actually
don't have moral intuitions, you're a demon. Okay, I was gonna say, you don't have moral intuitions, you're a demon.
One can say it's just for God to punish someone because he didn't fulfill his end of the covenant, right? God told him, don't kill yourself. And he went and he killed himself and he interrupted God's, like, you could say, like, what God actually wanted for him or whatever. I know it's a bit.
If you have moral intuitions, you're a good person. You think you should help the needy, you should be fair, you should be kind, you're a good person. If you don't have moral intuitions, you're just a fucking demon, you're just a fucking psycho. Oh yeah, I'll just fucking torture people that kill themselves. Oh, I'll just fucking kick puppies and gouge the eyes out of babies.
Yeah, but how can you prove that it's evil? Like, is my claim. Like,
oh, how can you prove 2 + 2 is 4? How can you prove that I don't know?
Yeah, but come on, we all know it's not like that because there are many ways one can actually, even from a secular perspective, argue that it's not necessarily evil. Like, if the body that you're, like the life you're terminating doesn't actually belong to you and it's a creation of God, like,
you know what, do you think morality is just totally arbitrary?
I don't know, bro. I don't think it's like.
Don't you think it has something to do with something? Here's something.
That was a good answer with what she said.
No, it's not. Okay? When it has to do with morality,
standpoint.
Morality has to do with suffering, fairness, impartiality. It's not a fucking coincidence, the judgments we make. We think about how we would want to be treated ourselves. We think about what causes pain and causes ourselves pain. That's what animates our judgments. We say, oh, I wouldn't like it if someone steals from me. I wouldn't like it if someone gouges my eyes out, so I won't do it to them. I don't like it when someone tortures me. I won't torture them. That's what we use to base our judgments on. It's not just arbitrary whims. It's literally based on reason, suffering, impartiality. It's not just arbitrary. I hate when people think it's arbitrary. It's not. It's obviously not.
Sam, if that was the case, the world would not be where we are right now. But I don't think that's what Naha, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. I don't want to disrespect your name. I don't think that was her point when Naha, I don't think that was her point when she was speaking to you regarding her viewpoint on morality. She's speaking of a covenant that if you break the covenant, it's not your life to give. So you're in breach of covenant. That's her argument.
Oh yeah, it makes so much sense to care about the covenant. Yeah, that makes me want to torture. That makes me want to torture people that kill themselves. When my best friend kills himself, I'm gonna say, yeah, he deserves to be tortured. That makes any sense at all. It's just a fucking broken ideology. I honestly feel like I'm on a world full of fucking broken people who are blind, and I feel like a fucking, like, how is it not obvious that if someone tries to kill themselves, or does kill themselves, that they were in already a lot of pain, and what they deserve is love and sympathy, and I'm sorry that your life was so hard, and I'm sorry that this fucking situations of your fucking life got to the point where you fucking tried to do that, and the answer to that is not to fucking torture them.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? What the fuck is wrong with you? If someone kills themselves, it means their life was horrible. They should be fucking tortured for that. Fucking idiots. You fucking idiots. I'm sorry.
You weren't serious, were you? If you were, my condolences.
Why would you ask him if he's serious? What the fuck?
Because that's the question. I don't know if he was playing or if he was serious. I don't know him that well.
Okay, how about we assume he was serious? Because he sounded obviously very upset. Why are you being a fuckhead? How about we don't take it away from his moment on this? Sam, I'm very sorry that happened, and I'm very sorry that I'm sure that you had to deal with something like this, and I'm in complete agreement with you. And I think that, you know, this ideology that espouses that individuals who are in horrendous pain then have to be given more pain as a result of their inability to cope with that pain, it's horrendous. And I absolutely agree with you. And I can think of a variety of different situations in which, if I were in pain, I would do the same thing. And, you know, the idea that I should be punished for the fact that the type of pain that I have is different and more than a type of pain perhaps somebody else had to endure that would cause me to do something like that does not enable somebody to say that I deserve to be tortured for that. I think that's horrendous. I'm in absolute agreement with you. And I'm sorry that whatever you're thinking about when you're talking about that is so upsetting, and I appreciate you sharing it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you, man.
I lost 3 of my best friends to suicide.
And it was not my intention to disrespect you in any kind of way. So my apologies. I am learning who you are, so I didn't know that this was not a hypothetical situation. So I apologize to you. And I understand where you're coming from.
I've been just, this past couple days, I've been reading much more about Islam. It's making me much more, like, I find it completely indefensible in any way. The hadiths that I found are the silliest, most childish shit I've ever seen in my life. The most absolutely embarrassing fairy tale children's stories I've ever heard in my life. And then Muhammad, when I found out that his old wife, she was like, please don't divorce me. You don't have to have sex with me anymore. You can have sex with your young wife instead of me. Please don't divorce me. And then Muhammad didn't comfort her in that moment of insecurity. Muhammad is not a good man. The fact that you based your life on a religion around a man who's not a good man is something you should be ashamed of. This ideology is silly. It's a silly book. It's a silly worldview. Muhammad, is a bad man. Now, so is Abraham. So is Moses. But I don't have as many people telling me that fucking they are perfect people. But these people tell me, oh yeah, Muhammad's so great. Let me tell you about some things that Muhammad did. Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old. He tongue-kissed a young boy. Let's read some more of these. He had a sex slave. He married a woman after killing her husband. He initiated military actions. He owned slaves. He traded 2 black slaves for Arab slaves. He stopped visiting his second wife because she was too old and decided to visit his young wife instead of her. He tongue-kissed a young boy. This is not a good man. This is not a good man.
He's a very despicable man. I agree. There's also other passages, Sam. I can't remember specifically what one there is, but like he had like just finished putting a city to the sword and take, you know, some of the women for himself and had this little harem and like had to get them out of the city a certain amount so he could marry them to force them to have sex with them. I can't remember what passage that was, but it's just a litany of horrific things that people try and justify because they think that this book that they were taught is true because somebody taught them that it was true, right? Like if we burned all of the Qurans today, which I don't advocate for because I don't think that book should be burned, and I like, you know, knowledge for knowledge's sake. But if we burned all of the Qurans today, you would not find a new Quran that would have the same information and written the same way in 100 years from now if nobody else knew about it. It would not be a thing. And I think this is just a testament to the fact that these were ridiculous ideas written by people from a very long time ago that didn't know what they were talking about, and for some reason we've incorporated into our social framework in this like inextricable way that we haven't been able to get over. And people keep making these apologetics for these horrific figureheads of these religions.
Yeah, if you find that passage, I'd love to see it. I'll put it in my document.
Yeah, I'll try and find it.
No rush, just if you do. People ask me why I open up these rooms on Islam. And it's like, the more I deal with this text, the more I talk to people justifying this stuff. It's like, what? How are you doing this? You must see the insanity. You must see the insanity of these hadiths, the moral insanity of Muhammad's behavior. You must see it. Like, how can you not see it? It is clear as day. It is clear as the sun on a spring day. It is not like it's not like some subtle fucking algebra problem. The hadiths are saying stuff like the monkeys are stoning each other, and that the Satan sleeps in your nose, or that you should wipe your ass an odd number of times, or that the rats that are Jews and follow kosher laws.
Or that camel piss heals ailments, or that you have to walk into the bathrooms on your left foot and pray to God that the demons don't crawl up your asshole as you finish shitting and that you don't shit towards Mecca, or that semen comes from your backbone, or any number of ridiculous things.
It's the fairy tales of a fucking medieval, uneducated moron. And then billions of people base their lives on it.
Not only base their lives on it, but willingly end other people's lives based upon it.
Sorry, I had to take the phone call, guys. Did I miss anything?
Well, I got really upset because of people were saying that when I was talking about suicide and how you go to hell, like your life is so horrible that you kill yourself and then you get tortured for that, and that got me really upset about the insanity of that and the stupidity of that.
Got it.
Do you know that what's interesting, Savage? There isn't a historical basis for that in the Bible, for example. This was something that was like ad hoc added because the church was worried that people would just kill themselves to go to heaven early. So they like added these additional passages in, and you're like, you shouldn't kill yourself because God does. I shit you not, look at the history of it. Because God, there was nothing originally like in the Torah, the original Bible, that had anything to do with suicide. It was ad hoc added in so that people wouldn't like try and rush their way in it.
Before creation itself.
It's funny. There's a similar thing in Buddhism where a lot of Buddhists say, like, well,
I don't love working that much, and if I'm going to see my loved ones in heaven anyways, I'm going to off myself tomorrow, because then I don't have to go to work anymore. I'm immediately in heaven getting finger blasted by the 72 virgins or whatever the fuck else. What incentive do I have? And if there's no punishment for it, then yeah, what logical person would do it?
and also in Buddhism, they go, life is suffering, and the best thing to do is escape suffering. And then somebody come with that, well, why don't you just kill yourself? And they go, oh, no, you can't kill yourself because reincarnation. But then there's this secular Buddhist who don't believe in reincarnation. It's like, okay, well, if you think the purpose of that life is nothing but suffering, and the only thing to do is to escape samsara.
We're all very
a lot of Buddhists don't believe in reincarnation.
We like to get paid.
But they don't ever take it there. Life isn't just suffering. Some of the Buddhists are wrong. They think life is nothing but good. It's not just stupid. It's got beauty, it's got flaws, it's got friendship, it's got community, it's got love. You can't try to point. Saying life is just suffering is just as dumb as saying life is just joy. It's just a fucking confusion of what life is. Life is complicated. Some good, some bad, some boring, some confusing. It's just not. Characterizing as suffering is just an error.
Well, the problem is that Abrahamic religions remind me of. You ever see Hellraiser?
Yeah.
They're like religion for the son of Cenobites, dude. They're all based upon the veneration of suffering, right? This like idea that the more suffering you experience, the better your rewards, and the stronger you are as a person, the more blessed you are by God. I mean, hell, you can even like look in the Bible with the passages regarding, I can't remember the individual's name, but like the Jewish man that was the holiest of all men that God loved the most. And then Moses like saw a prophecy of, you know, God showed him what was going to happen in the future, and this guy was going to die horribly, like torn apart by hooks and have his skin flayed and all this. And Moses was like, "Why, God?" And God's like, "Go fuck yourself. I do things I want." And it's just like, who honors these monsters? Like, why? Why? Like, given two different options, one option where there's two gods that you could pray to, one of which doesn't require all this suffering, and says to the other god, like, I could do everything you're doing absent the suffering. Who would choose that god, right? You wouldn't, right? Like, this is like the Kim Jong-un of gods. Like, it's the veneration of a fucking Cenobite religion. It's insanity.
Sam, how you doing, Sam? It's your favorite friend.
Hello.
Sam, I'm so sad the guy left. I wanted you to ask him that question about Mohammed sleeping with his slaves. You know, because it was I was so sad he left, because you know, if you read the part that narrated the story, you know, he first told Aisha that, oh, the Lord commanded I can sleep with anybody I want to sleep with. And Aisha responded to him that, are you sure it's the Lord that told you, or you're just fulfilling your own fantasies? I wanted MJ to answer that question. So
I know that story. So the full story goes that he was found sleeping in with his sex slave Maria the Cop in the bed of one of his wives called Hafsa. When Hafsa caught him basically cheating, not cheating, sorry, it's not cheating when you're having sex with your sex slave, but he caught him in the bed of his own wife, which is disrespectful. The first thing Muhammad said, please don't tell this to Aisha, because Aisha talks smack about everybody, right, as soon as he finds out. Well, guess what she did? And Aisha brought all the other wives into that room, and that made Muhammad to swear not to sleep with Maria the Copt ever again. And Muhammad said, I swear that I will never sleep with Maria the Copt ever again. And guess what? He got a revelation from Allah, and saying, Allah tells me that I can sleep with my sex slave, and if you guys don't accept it, then Allah will replace you with a better, with a better wife. And after that, Aisha says, I feel like your God is hastening to fulfill your desires, Muhammad. And that's where that.
And it's so funny that in that one verse or whatever, he doesn't say, "Oh, you will be replaced by better wives." It's like, perhaps you will be. Maybe you'll be replaced with better wives. It's like Allah's like, you know, maybe you'll be replaced with better wives. You better be careful. That might happen.
I feel like every time he says that, I'm getting a revelation. You know, like the sock puppet is like, there's a sock puppet in his hand that goes up, and then, Allah's here, guys. Hey, you know, and then Allah starts talking through his hand. It's like, I'm talking to you guys.
I need the more wives. It is time. Aisha, remember, you're no longer a child anymore. You're no longer my favorite. Time to replace you.
It's like, hello, I'm Allah. I'm telling you that you can have anybody you want, and if you girls don't like it, I'm gonna replace you. I'm gonna replace you. That's right.
I love thinking of him just being at like dinner and looking at who's gonna take the last piece of food off the plate. Allah says I get the rest.
There was
like everything.
My favorite convenient verse is like, the one that when Muhammad it's his wedding night, and he had his wedding night, and then these leaders of this tribe wouldn't leave his tent because he wants to go to his wife, right? It's his wedding night, so he was too shy to tell the leader of his tribe because it was pretty disrespectful to tell your elders to leave, right? And the elders were having fun. So Allah revealed the revelation. Here comes the sock puppet. Guys, sorry to bother you, but Muhammad is too shy to tell you to leave and not loiter around. So Allah's telling you to leave and loiter around. No, and that's pretty much what the verse actually said. The verse says that don't loiter around because Muhammad is too shy.
No, it literally says, "Don't come to the Prophet's house early for dinner." Like the last testament to man is like, "Yeah, don't come to Muhammad's house early for dinner."
How early is too early, Sam?
It doesn't say.
What's interesting is because the way that they explain the Quran is something called the Lawh. It comes from the Lawh al-Mahfuz, which means that in Arabic, it's the eternal tablet. It was there since the dawn of time, right? This is like the most sacred of the sacred, respectful, reverent kind of thing. And it's talking about Muhammad's libidos and what he's going to do. And I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, what is this? Like, why is it in the eternal tablet of God saying that you can do all of these crazy stuff? Like, it doesn't make any sense. There was another one that Allah actually, another convenient verse that I liked was when he married his adopted son's wife. You know about that one?
Y'all gonna eat this clover garden?
No.
I don't much like the taste of it.
So the story goes,
you're gonna like it. We just gotta figure out if any of us
so
left
Muhammad was going to, his adopted son was named Zayd and Muhammad, he was called at that time.
Was it the one you saw his
Just eat the damn garlic, bro.
He's not married at all.
No wonder the devil come first.
Can you repeat that, sir? You were cutting off.
Was the story, that's how people say that women are coming up in Islam because he went to visit his adopted son's house and saw his wife on plan and he now told his wife to marry her.
That was Umar. So Umar saw one of Muhammad's wives, doing the call of nature, and she was like a tall lady, one of them, and says, "Yo, why don't you just,
Need a
put
free phone?
a hijab on or something?" And that's where the hijab or niqab or whatever the word came from. But no, that's a different story. This one is the story of when Muhammad got a revelation from Allah that would allow him to marry his adopted son's wife. Because back then, marrying your adopted son's wife was considered a no-no. You don't do that. And I believe there was a Quranic verse that also says that you cannot marry your adopted son's wife. So it was even enshrined in the Quran. So what happened was that Muhammad was going to his adopted son's wife's house, Zayd in this regard, and he was walking by the window of his of Zayd's house and saw his wife, Zayd's wife, wearing a nightgown. And guess what? He said, "Allah, yeah, damn." And of course, the wife saw that and she said, "Boy." So she's like, "Oh, this is my opportunity to get up the social ladder." So she demanded from Zayd to be divorced because at that time Zayd already had 3 other wives. So he's like, "Hey," and she's like, "Oh, why is my wife nagging so much about divorcing me?" And his mom was like, "Oh, don't divorce her. I don't know why she's doing that. I have no idea why she would want to do that." And he's rolling his eyes. Okay. I was like, "All right, you know what? I'm gonna just divorce her." I'm like, "Okay, cool. If you want to divorce her, yeah, I ain't stopping you." And then Muhammad, as soon as she got divorced, Muhammad married her. Okay? And this caused a scandal amongst the community. So guess what? Allah's sock puppet comes out. Oh, here comes the sock puppet. Muhammad's sock puppet. Allah tells me that I can marry my adopted son's wife. And by the way, your adopted sons are no longer, there's no such thing as adoption anymore. Only foster children. So I banned adoption because I wanted to get my dick wet. So now there is no more adoption because Muhammad wanted to have sex with his adopted son's wife. And by the way, which is his first cousin too. And this is where first cousin marriage comes from too. And now, here's another problem that it caused. Now, all the people that have been adopted into these families that they have, now they're wondering, okay, I have a kid who's about 18, and he's an old man with a beard. Now, what, am I going to start wearing a hijab in front of my adopted kid? These I'm talking about the ladies, right? And Muhammad said, I found a solution. The solution is that you're going to breast suckle him 10 times, or 5 times, if you abrogate it many times. But you're going to breast suckle your adult man, and that way, now he's allowed, you don't have to take off your hijab every time you're around him. So, and that's exactly, so every time when random strangers want to enter into Muhammad's wives' houses, they have to get breast suckled every time. Aisha used to breast suckle a lot of people, and she hated that. She hated that with a passion. No wonder that the verse got, that those verses, those chapters of those verses were actually underneath her bed, and a goat came and ate it. Yeah, right. Oops. No. Pretty sure that she actually wanted those gone because she hated it. And she was, and another chapter of the verse was about stoning adulterers, which she was also accused of. And she wanted that gone too because she didn't want the punishment for death, right? In the Quran. Although it was recorded in the Hadith, so therefore that's why we have stoning of adulterers.
Sounds just like Joseph Smith.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many weird stories. Like you can, I mean, these are funny stuff. I always laugh. Like every time when I read some of these stuff, I'm like, you can't make this shit up. I could go to Laughing Factory, or I could start a sitcom, and I could be making billions of dollars out of it. I mean, absolute billions of dollars. For me personally, there are two books. There are two books in particular. Al-Tabari, Republican comedy, and Alfred Guillaume's book, The Sir Rasulullah. So those two books, you will either like say, my goodness, what a despicable, absolute evil person, or you're gonna just laugh your ass off. It's like those two things like come simultaneously. You would tremble in fear, and you would also laugh at the same time, really, really hard. It's a weird combination. Like it's funny. Someone's already done that. Republican comedy. Someone's actually turned it into like a graphic novel. Not graphic novel. Sorry. Into like an animation type thing.
And
And there's one called Nabi Asli. There's another one called Satan, which is 710 or Satan. But that's more of a musical type thing. But Nabi Asli, he has turned all of these weird ass stories into. There's another one that I forgot right now, and it's not in my mind. It's like a 2D animation, but I can't remember what it's called. I'm trying to think about it. I'll get back. Sam, you there?
Yeah, was a. You had done you was a. You did, didn't you? Yeah, my Islam document is getting so long. We have 21 pages now.
Sam, can I make a suggestion?
What's up?
I suggest that you watch some Rob Christian's videos.
Child is animal cruelty because, you know, if you
He's
look
like
at
he's a
it,
Christian
of
apologist, but
dogs,
he
like
actually,
bulldogs,
all he does is
decrease, like they have
that Muhammad did, and some really nasty
so
stuff.
I think some people think that, you know, owning pets is cool because it decreases their ability to survive in the wild. And, you know, now I'm willing to hear arguments that people make for that. But, you know, in general, it's like, you know.
So you say that dogs have a problem surviving in the wild?
Yeah, bulldogs, like they.
maybe those, but the African wild dog, you should look at the online there and look at the African wild dog. There's a beautiful dog. I love to have one. I think it's illegal to have one in Canada, but you should look at them because they have the highest attack rate in Africa. Like their rate of killing is like 70 to 75% when they attack, and I don't think any other animal has that successful rate of attacking other animals. Like the African wild dogs are just best attack rate in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree, it's like you can have it, but you have also examples like what I saw with, like, bulldogs, they have, their breathing, their respiratory abilities have decreased because of the way that they have been domesticated. So.
You might know this better than I do, but I heard this from my son. Aren't some bulldogs like genetically engineered? Like they're not like a. I thought the French bulldog is not like a dog that existed before. It was like basically something that was tampered with. I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm asking.
I don't know so much about that, but I don't know about Great Danes. I know that they have a lot of respiratory problems, mostly because of the fact that they're such, big dogs that have such, very fragile respiratory for the dog their size, that their cardio is just doesn't have a lot of strength.
You know Victoria. Do you know Victoria very well?
What?
Do you know Victoria very well?
Yeah, I know her.
Yeah, she's not hard to dissolve.
I mean, like, in general, she just, like, she doesn't like to be interrupted, which, I mean, to be fair, like, bro, it's like, could you have just let her finish what she was saying, ultimately? Like...
Don't get me wrong, I interrupted, I'm not going to deny that, but I just found it really funny that I say something, and their first phrase out of their mouth is they're talking about ownership, and they know better than for their lives to do, and which are animals, which we don't, right? Like, we say we're going to do this because it's just better for us, but it's better for them, but like they don't make that decision, right? And I'm pretty sure, like I'm not saying I'm 100% this because I can't talk to a dog or cat, but I'm pretty fucking sure if I could talk to a cat and animal and tell them what I would do, the answer would be no.
But you do understand, of course, that we make, of course, many other decisions, like with, when we have like infants, like we always,
Yeah, but that's different. That's completely different. That's just a bogus argument because our infants,
stewards, we do things as stewards.
Yes. But our kids are free when they get to a certain age and they want to ride. We teach them, and I do agree with you 100%, but they're on their own at a certain age and have the responsibility. Animals never get that choice.
Well, yeah, because there's some things, animals never have the ability to be able to do things like
pets.
Animals don't have the intelligence to be able to drive cars.
That's not what I meant about. Hey, listen, man, you're being very dishonest right now, right?
No, my point is...
No, yes, you are, because that's not what I meant. And you know that's not what I meant. You're very dishonest.
You're not understanding what I'm saying.
You just said that animals just can't leave and drive cars. Like, really, Necro? Like,
yeah, do you understand the point of what I'm making?
Yeah, I don't like to hear that bullshit. Like, move on.
I'd like to get put in the queue. Sorry, Negro, to take your dopamine away.
Okay, you guys can go ahead, because I have to do a few things here for my stock market, so you guys can go ahead. I gotta go for it.
I actually gotta go, so...
It was such a fascinating conversation, Necro.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really debate,
like, are those hairs coming out of a mole on your chin? Am I mistaken in your black and white photo?
What are you talking about?
Bottom right, your left, stage right, or I guess stage left on your chin. Are those hairs on a mole that I see in the black and white photo?
Yes.
Interesting. Have you thought about...
Is that your real picture, Necro?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, yeah, because often people don't put their real picture.
Have you thought about plucking the hairs from the moles, or is that just like an extra thing for a girl to play with, or a guy to play with, on a Friday night?
Yeah, what do you have against people who have moles?
No, I'm just wondering, like, can you actually remove the hairs? Because, aesthetically, it might be more pleasing to have a well-groomed face instead of, like, hairs coming out of a mole on your chin. It's just an idea. I mean, I want you to get laid. I'm on your side, bro. I'm here to give you maybe some free consultation.
I mean, my face is more clean-shaven than you.
I know, but you have, like, mole hair.
So why are you going
I'm just literally aesthetically making a suggestion. It's not personal. I'm just saying I think you probably look more handsome without hairs growing out of a mole on your chin.
Do you not think it's something that I try to manage?
No, I know it's probably a challenge. Just, never mind. You're right. It's a challenge to manage mole hair. I agree.
Yeah.
I get hair all over my ears, my unibrow. It's like I got to constantly groom myself. So I'm just saying that,
Yeah, Deco and John there, we had this discussion about the test, right? And I was I was kind of defending that they weren't, and I got my mind changed. And the person that was debating actually changed my mind on this topic. Like I never used to think this way because I always had animals, I always had dogs or cat, and I changed my mind about 5 years ago. This stance, just let you know that I was not always like this.
welcome back to Fight Club, where low IQ dumb people will talk about nothing while their personal lives burn down all around them, or they never had any. Somebody kicked me.
Arrested many American-born citizens that are Mexican descent. So there's profiling going on. So if you look like a Mexican, they're going to come after you, even though you're an American.
Oh, you gotta mod me. He's interrupting. You gotta mod me.
Okay. Stop begging, you cocaine.
I'm not begging.
Not deleting the. Rod Norman. Move up and down, but no, as we said, okay?
Say it again.
I said, no throwing people out of the room, no deleting
Yeah,
the
just
chat, but
kick
you
him
move
down
up
to
and
the audience
down.
and back. I can move him down. That's what I was gonna do. Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Only because he's interrupting.
Yeah. Well, he's also cursing people out.
Yeah.
He's polite political discussion.
Yeah.
Bring him up here, so
I can't wait till he comes back and sees my PTR. He's gonna really love it. He can see it right now. You can see. Can you see? Are you off the phone now, or something? Or resistance, or whatever your name is. That looks a little bit pornographic. That's Muhammad.
That will get you your head cut off in a Muslim area.
Oh my God! Come on, that's just a bit much.
It's Muhammad.
I know. Come on, let's just. I mean, things that just really shouldn't be done.
But this isn't like this. This wasn't done in fucking Texas or something. This came from the Middle East. This is done by a. It's not actually Muhammad represented here, but
but pretty much most people will think it is.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean,
Please, just polite request, just change it.
Can I do the one with Hamas where they have the Hamas flag and it has the dildos? Is that okay?
Whatever, just
okay.
Their profit.
Okay. I'll do the Hamas flag holding dildos. Let me change it.
Appreciate. Yes, me.
Come on.
Just You're still with the plus. You like that, huh? Or are you still
No,
on trial?
I canceled it. I didn't know that we could cancel it and have the other guys yet.
So
I saw. Wait, this isn't there.
I saw listen to maybe like the first 15 minutes, as your client's podcast with the former Prime Minister Omer.
Okay.
What I don't know. Is he like a controversial person? I mean, he was the Prime Minister, so enough people must have liked him. But he's a little critical.
Okay, you made a statement. You want to tell us what you?
No, I mean, I'm asking like, what is your guys' opinion of him? I'm sure
Did he go to jail?
He's obviously being very critical of how Israel's handling this situation now. He wasn't with the initial.
Why you let this fucking colonizing homo throw me down? I'm not talking about you, Pat, but you are homo.
You violated my rule, and if you don't violate the rule, he will not throw you down. Okay? Come on, that was not necessary.
I heard an actor.
No, there was no outburst.
I heard him yelling.
He just talks like that.
He was talking. For him, that was quiet. He was white colonizer. I can deal with that. That's not a big deal.
I just heard him yelling. That's why I said that.
Those uncivilized Puerto Ricans weren't colonized well enough.
Puerto
I thought you wanted to have a civilized conversation. He
Yes, I do. For him, that was civilized. It was okay. I think it was okay for you to. Okay, look, just.
If it wasn't for you white Europeans, we would have not brought the plague over here too, and pigs and all the rest of those nasty Europeans.
But I was talking about that. No one knew about bacteria and germs. Hold on, let's talk about this for a moment. People did not know about germs and resistance, and I'm using it another way, resistance to things that, the Europeans had built up resistance to the plague and other diseases that the Native Americans didn't have. It's not as though, like, Columbus and other people that were colonizers said, you know what, we're going to wipe them out with disease. No, that was not part of the game plan because they couldn't even think about that because they didn't even know about it. Understanding, petri dishes and how to grow.
Wait, you're saying Columbus and them didn't understand human biology and genomics and all this kind of shit? Like, seriously?
Yeah, when you have
that's one of the biggest problems. I really thought that when the conquistador or the Spaniards walked across South America, that when they wiped out 1 million people in the jungle, they did it on purpose. Damn, I really thought that.
No, hold on, war and other things.
Yeah, they coughed on it. They coughed on.
I'm talking about just showing up and.
Yeah, I know. There was these Spaniards who, when they arrived the first time in South America, marched like 25 soldiers across the central part of South America, and they said that they had seen a great city with like 1 million people, and then when they showed up a couple years later, everybody was gone, and they're like, oh, the guys were making this shit up, and now when they're doing like LiDAR and stuff like that, they actually found the city and they've unearthed it, and they said that they estimated it had like over 1 million people and that they all died of disease. But I really thought they did that on purpose, Stan.
Yeah. I mean, one would think that they didn't know anything at that time. Like India. The thing is, Louis Pasteur didn't come onto this.
Also, Norman, it's something that you might be interested in the hearing, and it's also coming from the mouth of a Christian. The earliest writings about powerlifting or weightlifting was actually Saint Jerome. In 349, he was born in 349, so it was around that time. I believe he was alive, and weightlifting, and he attributes it to the Jews actually being the first people in history that we have through historical evidence that shows people actually using weightlifting devices and stuff. And also the first powerlifter was also a Jew. Yeah, I know the Greeks did. The Greeks did, but they talked about it. It was the first person to actually talk about weightlifting and using actual apparatuses for weightlifting. I know the story about the Greeks.
That's a Greek word, isn't it?
I mean, I'd love to take credit for it, but I don't believe that was us.
Did he leave, or did you come back? Did Resistance leave on his own?
I sent him down, and I guess he
and then he left?
Yeah.
Because I invited him back up. But...
So...
The only problem with making Norman a moderator is he'll just kick everybody, and then we don't have anybody to debate.
I told him the rules.
I know. But we don't know who he's kicking, He'll be like, I guess they just left.
Animals get kicked.
Everybody's an asshole to you, though, Norman.
No, that is incorrect. Only assholes are assholes to me.
So, but you define everybody as an asshole.
Hold on.
No, I do not define everybody. No
cursing and no personal attacks.
Right.
If that defines an asshole.
Okay. Some guy I know defines people as buttheads.
No, I haven't done that. And you don't know me.
I am a 2-time Pulitzer nominee. How much can you know about a man?
It's hard. When somebody wins an Academy Award, you know what? One of the first things they say is, it's amazing to win an award amongst all these people that were nominated. There are a lot of journalists in this world, and look, I was a journalist for a brief period of time, 3 years. There are a lot of journalists, and then there are people who are nominated, which is like one cliff, and then there's a higher cliff that wins. So any day of the week I will take nominated over being just a journalist.
Oh no, I find it to be very respectful.
Yeah, but you were just using it as a.
No, I was just pointing it out because he's never mentioned it before, so I was just mentioning it for him.
He's mentioned it a few times.
Maybe twice. Maybe.
Maybe today twice, but
No, not twice. Write it down if I never mention it.
okay, today I'll put it down today.
I haven't mentioned it. He mentioned it, not me. He brings it up every time he comes into the room. He comes around.
Maybe he's jealous. What does he do?
Of course he's
what do you do for a living, Mr.
I own a business.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Okay.
I do onboarding recruiting.
Oh, interesting.
What's the Pulitzer Prize of
No,
onboard?
Oilfield Petroleum, Midland, Odessa.
Where, in like Louisiana or Texas?
Texas.
Midland?
Yeah, West Texas, yeah, Midland. Yeah, Midland, Odessa.
George Bush country.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm from Cincinnati area, but...
Yeah. Doesn't sound like it anymore.
Do you
Hey, we don't really have an accent in Kentucky, Cincinnati.
Yeah, but you don't sound like Cincinnati, I'll give you that much.
Do you like Highline chili?
Skyline chili or Gold Star?
Yeah, Skyline chili.
I mean, I like Skyline. I prefer Skyline. My parents prefer Gold Star. But they're heathens.
They have a weird thing. They eat spaghetti with chili. It's like a Cincinnati thing.
Shredded cheddar cheese, Cincinnati chili, which has a little bit of cinnamon and nutmeg in it. It's more of a watery, like hot dog chili. Then it's poured on a bowl of feta spaghetti.
Yeah, it's not that it's okay. It's just an unusual dish that you won't ask for.
I mean, it's so here's the thing. It's
like
not kosher.
Like you only get a cheesesteak in like Philadelphia.
So I was going to mention the hot dogs do not contain pork. They're 100% beef. Yeah, but they're not kosher. But they're definitely not kosher. But I mean, in the sense of like, the Rebbe didn't come in, like, ooh. But so.
That's not what makes it kosher.
I mean, he has to come in and through inspect the entire facility. He has to make sure that there's no rodents. He has to make sure that everything's clean. I mean, I know.
With this clean?
Yeah, Norman, I grew up as a Jew, I'm a Christian now, but that's fine.
I didn't know you grew up as a Jew.
Come on, Norman, this is real.
Come back, you're still
I'm still a Jew by the Talmud too. But no, I mean, but what I was gonna mention about not mixing meat and dairy, you could just have it without the cheese. I mean, that's if you're not keeping cooking.
Yeah. Wait, don't tell me you're one of these
Messianic Jews.
Messianic things.
Yeah.
Messianic Jews, you're not one of them?
Yeah.
He is one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
You're a spiritual search. It's okay. I mean, everybody's looking for something.
If I said I was Taoist or Hindu or Buddhist, they'd all be like, it makes sense. You say Jesus, and they're like, no! How dare you! How dare you! Get out of here!
This is a weird thing.
Get out of here! You choose Jesus, love.
You put thoughts into other people's mouths and into
It was
their
a
minds.
joke, Norman.
Well, you also said that I kick everybody out, or that I think everybody...
That was a good joke. I mean, there's certain people that you like.
Jokes have to be funny.
No, they only have to be funny to me, Norman. They don't have to be funny to me.
You did not. I did not.
You better be funny to other people.
Of course. Keep that in mind if you want to work on your Pulitzer. Jokes are funny.
I mean, I was just pointing out how great of a man you are, Norman. That's all.
Thank you.
How accomplished and how amazing Norman is. That's all.
When did you convert to this?
What do you mean, Christianity?
Well, to what you are now.
Messianic. Realizing Jesus is the one true Messiah.
Realizing, or?
I mean, I became a Christian when I was about 13, 14, backslid, went out, lived in the world, all that kind of stuff. Early 20s came back.
Where's backsliding?
Wait, you're really confusing me. Are you Messianic Jew or full-on Christian?
I mean, I'm a Messianic Jew,
What's
yeah.
the difference? What's the difference?
Well, I mean, a Messianic Jew is just a Jew who follows Jesus. I mean, now you're one to get
Messianic Jews, it's sort of like Seventh-day Adventists equals Christianity.
No.
Follow the Torah holidays.
No, I don't. I'm not a Torah keeper.
No, he doesn't have to do that. No, they're often Reformed Jews, in fact.
Yeah,
I'm not a Torah keeper, no.
They tend to have services that revolve around the calendar year like we do.
I mean, I got family members that are like that. Yeah, I got Torah keeper family members, yeah. Like my aunt goes to a Messianic synagogue down in Florida that they're Torah keepers.
I know Christians who celebrate the Jewish holidays.
Yeah, I mean, I celebrate the holidays. I mean, but I'm not celebrating for the same reason.
Do you celebrate Shavuos?
Yep.
Or Rosh Hashanah?
I mean, in the sense of what Rosh Hashanah for you is, and for me, it's a little.
Well, I'm not asking if it's different. I'm saying, do you celebrate it?
No, I mean, I celebrate it, but not for the same reason. I'm not doing it for like.
No, I'm not asking
the
about
same
what's
reason.
in your mind. So what do you do on Rosh Hashanah?
I mean, celebrate the holiday.
What do you do?
I mean, I personally don't know if that's what you're asking.
Okay. That's what I said.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I have with family member.
Okay, so you go to synagogue, have some apples with honey, have a meal.
I mean, I have, but that was in Florida, yeah. So my aunt would be considered like a Torah keeper.
We wouldn't even
amongst the Messianic Jews. That's what I'm saying. The Messianic Jews.
Oh, I see. I don't know about them. I feel like I remember someplace that there was a guy named David that was in charge of the whole thing. There's some others on the app. At least one other.
I can't remember her name, but there's a girl and then her husband and her brother, but they're Torah keepers as well. But they're like real observant, like hardcore Torah keepers. I mean, they're like tzitzits and everything.
Yeah. I'm wearing them right now. People are looking to connect with God. Oh, Daniel wants to come up.
Daniel? Our Daniel?
Yeah.
Daniel. Come on. Sorry.
And Moshe wants to come up.
I walked it, but then you said my original curse and stuff. You set the tongues, you can change them.
Yeah, we're going with the big three.
Don't call me on it. You gotta go.
You're fucking crazy. Keep it close to promotion.
You shut me out. You think I care? I'm gonna go through. You take away my world. I take away yours. You're like crazy news in the Middle East, huh? Crazy. Yeah, that's why I do it.
You like getting spanked.
Happening down, I told you.
Look, Leahy is here. Why are you up in the middle of the night, Leahy?
I met her yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah. Nice one.
Very nice.
Be careful, she's just barely 18.
I heard.
Trump is going to bunker bust on nuke facilities. John, get up.
Wait, John was threatening to kill you.
It's 16 on 15.
John, get over.
John said somebody's trying to kill him. He said he threatened to kill me and my parents yesterday.
Yeah, Resistance, that piece of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, him, yeah.
That's not allowed. That's not very kosher.
He's a troll. He's a notorious troll.
Who?
Resistance.
No, he's not a troll because he actually believes that stuff. Trolls make fun of your beliefs and sort of say, oh yeah, the moon is made out of Swiss cheese. And you're like, really? I thought it was, that's...
But no, he, in other rooms...
He's not a troll. He truly
No,
believes it.
with you guys, he may believe it, sure.
With other rooms, he believes it. I've heard him he's no different in other rooms. You know, he's louder because we're pushing back, and we have an alternative point of view that doesn't align with his point of view. Where he's in a room where people align, he's quiet and he talks and this and that, but he's not a troll.
He's kind of disgusting even in like Amir's room, but just not as bad. But those guys fight like cats and dogs.
I mean, in like the rooms where he would frequent rooms with a lot of the Black and Puerto Rican.
He's very violent in the real
world. He talks a lot of trash. Like he jokes in a very dirty manner.
In the real world, he assaults people. Literally, he goes to demonstrations and hits people and hurts them and gets arrested for it. He's done it repeatedly.
I want to see a picture of this guy. Is he like big and imposing or?
It's what people told me.
He's like a fat guy.
I
mean, it's weird. But yeah, he seems like he's like 250, like 6'0".
I don't know if he's 250. No, he's not tall, but he's fat and he sneaks up on people. He's like a coward. He assaulted Yosef Haddad, the Christian Arab journalist, in front of Columbia University. He was arrested for that. And he also assaulted somebody in Washington, D.C. and was arrested for that. He's like a creep.
Wait, didn't he converted to Islam in prison?
Of course he did. He's Puerto Rican.
Is he in prison?
Yeah, that's how he converted. He's open about it.
Why does Amir and other Pakistanis, or some Pakistanis, but Amir will say Salam Alaikum and he'll throw in like Arabic words, but he's an Urdu speaker. Like,
no, because the Quran is in
Arabic.
I know.
Yeah, they gotta be Arabized.
So they use an Arabic reading because the Arabic is the language of their religion, and the Pakistanis are much more terroristic than other Muslims.
Like even the Persians will use Arab. Will use Arab.
So will Turks. Turks will use some Arab words.
He's on there with the Mexican flag. Oh, but he didn't raise his hand, so. Come on. That was so great. Why are you here?
I've been recording Sam, Jewish Sam on here for like the past.
Wait, you're recording?
2 to 3 days, because he's been doing what.
When did you start doing that, John? Yeah, hold up.
Well, what I'm saying is, he finally crashed today. He finally broke down in tears, complete and total tears today, and it's Sam. He finally. Okay. He's doing what Rich does, which is go through these hadiths, which are so.
Sam, the guy who's looking into the clouds with his beard, side profile with his beard.
Yeah, Jewish Sam. Yeah, Jewish Sam Rosen. Anyways, he started breaking down in tears today because he kept talking to all these Muslims who are driving him crazy, and he's bringing up all these insane hadiths, and then Nuha comes in and he says, Nuha, if you commit suicide, should you allow, will Allah allow you to go to heaven? And she says, no, you've broken the covenant and you must be punished. And he just broke down in tears because I guess somebody he knows committed suicide or something. So, these people are so programmed and so fucking, and on the dumbest shit. They will die on a hill to defend the craziest shit that you've ever heard. I've never heard this shit about Islam. It's fucking shocking.
What the Jewish answer to that is, though.
Huh?
There was people who said, you can't be buried.
Now you're learning about it, Johnny boy.
No, but it's now considered an illness, and you're just as sick as somebody who died of cancer, and you're treated as one of God's children. You go to heaven. You were just sick in a very different way.
But see, I don't think Muslims even read this shit. So I see Muslims all the time.
Killing yourself.
Suicide?
Well, they say that is the deepest, most philosophical question, whether or not to kill yourself.
God can take a life.
I mean, I think there is like there's a calculated reason you can commit suicide where you're not really a depressed person, but.
Jihad. You're talking about jihad.
So, like, if I was, I don't know, let's say I just robbed a bank, but I fucked up and shot, I don't know, the police on the way out. I know,
that's by a cop? No, that's not suicide.
No.
That's
Let's
just
say
bad choices.
No. Let's say I robbed a bank and then I ended up killing a couple cops and then I got away and I realized my time is up. I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison. Do I want to spend the rest of my life in prison? Probably not. All right, I'll just kill myself. Like, I think that's more of like a calculated suicide as opposed to
No, the only way they can get away with it is jihad. Dying in the name of Allah under struggle. Jihad. That's suicide you can get okay with.
Well, I'm not talking about whether you get in heaven. I'm talking about like whether or not it's because you're suffering and like. I do think you can be put in like a real pickle where it's. I can understand why a rational person would do it.
Well, first of all, it's so stupid to contemplate whether you're going to go to heaven or hell after you're dead. I mean, let's be honest. This is all delusional rambling. It's fucking. We're dealing with the dumbest people I've ever encountered in my entire life.
All thoughts are hypnosis.
All communication. Well, these Muslims are just. You know what? You can detect the same thing. Blacks on this app or Black Hebrew Israelites do the same thing. They pull a Jew card, they pull a black card. Then they pull the Jew card, then they pull the black card. These Muslims can only pull one card, but they have to literally invert reality to warp around these insane hadiths, and they will die on a hill for them. They're the sickest, most demented people I've ever heard in my life, and it's all because of the programming.
Chicago accent, Muslims. The Muslims.
Come on,
That's why I don't even
make fun of your accent.
They're not worth debate. I do get curious, like when I talk to them about terrorism, like that used to be my thing. I go in a mirror's room and talk to them, but I always end up like blowing up at them on the end because they won't admit just like basic things. Like it's really weird. I never encountered anybody else like that.
Was there a pun there, Pepe? They've never engaged honestly at all, not even for one sentence. I mean, except if it's not relevant to the topic.
Well, it's just like, just the one thing that would annoy the shit out of me is that you'd be like, okay, October 7th happened. And they're like, oh, yeah, but then they just have to bring up, what about this? What about that? How do you know those videos were not, fucking faked? It's just...
I asked them, so they say Israel's occupied, and the occupied. Which part is occupied? Tel Aviv? Yes. Oh, interesting. Tel Aviv is occupied too. Okay, what else is occupied? I said, how about New York? Oh, you were there, Pepe. You were there. I said, how about, oh yeah, New York is occupied too. So what are you going to do? Well, we're going to show you Islam, and then we're going to peacefully coexist with you, and then if you still resist Islam, we're going to go to war. And then I said, how about the Vatican? You were there, Pepe. Remember, it was Z, the Egyptian. I said, how about the Vatican? Oh yeah, the Vatican's occupied. I said, so what are you going to do? Well, we're going to show you Islam, peacefully coexist, and if you still resist Islam, there's going to be a war.
Yeah, and that started.
Isn't
I had asked her.
for 3 years on Clubhouse?
I asked her what do you feel about Andalus? Is that land that was wrongfully taken by Muslims? And she agreed. Because it originally started like if something's Muslim land, should it remain? But of course she took it a step further, saying everything should be. But there are people that go the they will. I've seen people where they'll say like, oh, these horrible colonizers, Islam existed for 700 years or whatever on the Iberian Peninsula, but these savage terrorists ended up they don't even say expel, but like ethnically cleansing the Muslims of the land, and it's really obnoxious. But
they want it back, Pepe. They want it all. They want it all. The whole world is theirs, and they want it, and they're going to come and take it. Or if it's not, then she updated her statement. The whole world belongs to God, but we're the custodians of it. The Muslims are the custodians.
Well, they're the only group.
Norman has made so much progress. I'm so proud of you, Norman.
They're the only group that will go. They go to like another land, or they see people that are not Muslim, and they're personally offended by it. Like I have a hard time like really grasping it because I don't have that worldview. But there is a reason why like people would say I was like a Nazi about Muslims. I first met like Mikhail or Cynical a few years ago, and I was telling him how I would like what I would do if I had my way to them, like how they'd all get deported, and he was frank about saying how he thinks like France should be a caliphate.
Who said that?
Mikhail, cynic.
California McHale.
I know. Yeah, he was in the service too.
Yeah, and
he's literally an enemy of the land he swore to defend.
You got fat Mexican Marines saying they shouldn't deport Americans. I mean, you have all kinds of retards that go into the military that are liberally woke. They go in for the jobs.
What did you say? A Mexican American?
It's a jobs program. It's not a lethal killing force. And, Hegseth needs to do even more to flush these people out of the system.
There was a lot of controversy this morning because a woman, a staff sergeant that was in her uniform with her name tag and everything was basically saying how it's anti-American for the military to be, I guess, I don't know, deployed to California, and how she was getting very political, which
I'm gonna restart this room.
like in public. She basically showed up at a protest.
All of these soldiers have Instagram accounts. They post all kinds of shit on their Instagrams. I don't even know how the military lets soldiers, actively use social media with no repercussions.
I'm going to be fair. Like, there were people in the military that were like straight up Nazis that had communicated.
Yeah, when I was in basic training, there was literally a neo-Nazi in our company, and in person, he was not the worst person I've ever spoken with, but a neo-Nazi organization was sending him mail to our barracks, and when they found the mail, they kicked his ass out. And
I'm sure.
He was a crazy person. I mean, he shouldn't have been there. But then I go to Muslim services on base. There's a room of like 30 people taking instruction from some kind of, Muslim fucking preacher, teacher, whatever. And he's sitting there telling everybody, if you don't submit to Allah and the Quran, your head will be busted on a rock for all of infinity. And this is, we're about to go to war in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is how woke this country has become and how insane it is with religious freedom. That, there's no comprehension about the political element of religion. We are literally the dumbest people on the planet, I think, at the present moment. One of the dumbest.
I mean, I literally think it would be funny to, like, you know how they have, like, those no-go zones? And you guys are going to not think it's okay, and that's fine, but I'm just different. But I actually think it'd be funny for, like, just large crowds of people to walk up to Muslim men and shave off their beard in Britain. Like, just fuck with them. Like, I think what sucks is that we're too tolerant of a society. Like, you can't be tolerant, especially to people who won't reciprocate it.
I see Muslim families all the time here in Chicago, and they are here by the boatload. And I gotta say, like, to me, they just look like normal people doing their normal things. And I don't think they know about any of this shit. I think they just watch Disney, and they don't even give a shit about this shit. They are just glad not to be in their shithole country anymore. On the majority. But then you have the extremists. Obviously, it's an index. But I'm just saying, America, like...
Yes and no. I mean, I get what you're saying, like, not being, like, actual hardcore observant followers of Islam and understanding all of it and stuff like that. But, like, when they surveyed, like, Muslims in London, and they were like, yo, like, do you guys think that, like, Sharia law should be implemented? Like, 85% of them were like, yes. And then they're like, well, what about honor killings? And it was like 65% were like, yes. Like, I mean, when you really, like, break down, like, what they believe and shit, some of the shit's, like, kind of fucking crazy.
But it's not crazy if you're Muslim. Like, Sharia law, they actually think is in a way, the purest, it's the best existence you can live under Sharia law. Like, you're doing people a favor, literally, by blessing them with Sharia law.
Isn't it crazy how it's always one-sided? They're never, like, interested in learning anything about maybe your culture, your religion, your laws, your way of life. it's always, oh, we're the latest upgraded model, and this is the way it is. Like, these people are a danger. I mean, I'm so glad that Trump is president because I think he recognizes that.
It's not that they don't care to learn; they have contempt for us.
I don't know, getting angry over this shit, it's just, it can't be useful. You know, it's not useful, but these people are not going away. And I don't know.
Well, in
I don't know what the
America,
solution is.
Did you see that there's a video, the Al Qaeda or ISIS leader or whatever? It's like 2 days ago.
Yeah. This is it. Trump is taking us to war with Iran. Like, he's going to blow a hole into the side of the earth so big these fuckers will have nothing, you know, to build a bomb with. It's coming. Like, it's like he just told everybody to pack their shit and get ready.
Not that I care. I just don't want. Who do you think is going to do it? U.S. or Israel?
Fuck, who do you think can do it? We're the only ones who can do this shit. Did you see Hegseth screaming in Congress saying, you know, the international defense forces are, we watch Americans fight? He was there. A lot of these international soldiers that deployed overseas, they didn't do any of the fighting. They just watched the fighting that Americans did. I mean, you can expect terrorist attacks in this country. The moment when we open up a hole in the side of Iran's ass, you can expect that this is not going to be a pleasant summer. It's going to peak.
You actually think Muslim terrorists will respond to what happens in Iran?
Oh yeah, you can. They are so deranged that any provocation they will use. This is their mindset of the sick people who adhere to this shit. I mean,
I thought most Muslim terrorists, which they're almost all Sunni, at least in the West, they fucking hate Iran too.
it doesn't matter. It's an insult to Islam. This is why. Okay, so that is technically their double card. That is when a Sunni pulls the Shia card or a Shia pulls the Sunni card because it's all Islam. So they do have double standards.
But they kill each other. Like, they did that ever since the invasion in Iraq. When ISIS was out, the people chopping off ISIS's heads were Hezbollah and Sunni, Shia militias.
I don't know. I'm not going to any street fest this summer. There's going to be somebody with a fucking bus or a truck who decides to just drive through the whole fucking thing.
They should. I said this like decades ago. Like, they should like ban. I know you can't do that with their constitution, but I mean that religion is just terroristic in general. But it's peace. It's right after 9/11, we were told it's a religion of peace.
Did you ever see the Christopher Hitchens debate when this fat Muslim in a burqa is screaming at him and they're, he gives her a really, really good smackdown?
No.
I could pull the link for you, but all these Christopher Hitchens debates against Islam are incredible, but they don't even go far enough. I mean, King Charles or whatever with his religious tolerance. I mean, is he's that fucking stupid, or he's that much of a cuck or a traitor, or just let his I don't know, maybe the English needed all the labor or something, but man, they let fucking England and the UK just like get invaded. I mean, and the US too. I mean, it's everywhere. Europe as well. It's like, what the fuck were people thinking?
I think the worst thing we did, I think America created a lot of their mess by invading Iraq. I mean, Iraq got destabilized.
They got a lot of Pakistanis in there. These Pakistani Muslims are like the biggest population there.
But if you look at a lot of them that have been coming in recently, so first goes Iraq, which of course emboldened Iran, because now they don't have to like really focus on Iraq anymore, and they can spend time fucking with Israel. Then you have Syria. I don't think ISIS would have ever happened in Syria if Iraq was or Saddam was still in power. And then I'd even go as far as to say just like the whole Arab Spring was. I don't see that happening without Iraq being attacked.
I mean, so my biggest reason for telling all the Muslims all this dirty shit about their religion is for twofold. Hopefully
they'll realize that what they're practicing, is fucking abhorrent and fucking disgusting, and maybe they won't be such radicalized fucking psychopaths. And then secondly is just all the fucking dumbasses that don't know anything about Islam, and they have these Muslims set up these rooms, and they're like, come in here about Islam, and then they tell them all the beautiful shit. There's people that are searching for something, they're like, oh, I'm gonna start reading the Quran, and it's like, well, wait a minute, let me explain to you like some of the dirty shit about Islam.
No, I just
So, like,
push back because I think they're bullies.
They would be like, I've been coached by some fucking Muslim, and had been learning about this shit for like a month or two, or I had already took my shahada and all this shit, and, I was really into it, and then you guys like dropped all this shit, and the Muslims were like agreeing with it, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe that I actually fucking like fell for this shit. Like, Issa, the lady that has that fucking red PTR, the lady that's from like South America or Central America that lives in like Switzerland. Like, she was one of those people. She was one of those people that, came through Islam and shit, and then started learning all the dirty secrets, and then left it.
She was a
Muslim?
Muslim?
Yeah, she was Muslima.
What? I'm gonna make fun of that dirty beat.
Yeah, you didn't know that. Yeah, she came to that shit, and then she found out through like, reading more shit and learning about it that there was actually like a dark side to it, and she was like, what the fuck did I do? Like, there's so many
Black
people
Rabbi too. Black Rabbi on this app was a Muslim that did Hajj and was a devout Muslim, and then he converted to Judaism.
Yeah, there's so many people, dude. And like, I don't care if you want to go be a fucking Muslim and Allahu Akbar, and you want to double down and Allahu Alam, only Allah knows and all this kind of shit, then be my fucking guest. But I'm not gonna sit by idly, in the Western fucking world and let all these fucking like atheist agnostics or like lost fucking people like become Muslims and like build a fucking army to overtake us. Like, I'm gonna tell you the fucking truth about their religion. The best part about the Muslims is that they'll be honest about it, especially like the Mikhails. They'll tell you straight up, yeah, we should be cutting the heads off all the Christians.
That's why I kind of like Mikhail, and he's interesting to talk to. I mean, he's
Oh, I love when he's in the room because he'll explicitly tell you, yeah.
I don't think I think he's a likable guy in a way. Like, I think we have like very different opinions.
Who's this?
Mikhail. But like he's like expressed things that I'm 100% against.
He's pretty.
Yeah, he supports. He says that ISIS and Hamas are freedom fighters.
Yeah, he wants the world to be Muslim, and it's a matter of time.
No, I'm saying like on a personal level, if you ever talk to him about stuff that doesn't involve Israel or religion, he's a very likable guy.
Same thing with Randy. The same thing with Randy. Randy can rip apart the Talmud to shreds. Because he doesn't
That's his
understand
favorite thing to do.
Yeah, because he doesn't understand it. He'll line pick.
Because
he's not looking at it
because
entirely.
it disputes his belief.
And he'll come up with an alternative reading of Jeremiah or Jeremiah, and he'll come up with an alternative reading of Daniel to reverse engineer Jesus into those prophecies, and doesn't want to hear the Jewish interpretation.
I mean, Normo, do you remember Cardano, who used to be on this app?
Yes.
Like, he's somebody that I've heard other people say it, like Jews even say it, that like even for like a neo-Nazi, he was like kind of hard to hate. Like
I love a good neo-Nazi.
Like he ended up leaving it. He apparently moved back to Arizona. He wanted to meet up, but.
I think he's, by the way, very wealthy. He's got like a big thing going on.
I know he's a truck driver. Like he has his own trucking. He was always
quite wealthy.
Yeah.
A truck driver doesn't mean he can't be wealthy.
No, I said.
No, that guy has financial problems. He's not wealthy. Norma's joking. But Pepe, aren't you? Don't you come from neo-Nazism, Pepe? Fucking that piece of shit in his disgusting suit on his Instagram photo. Are you kidding me? This suit looks like he got it from the dollar shop.
So like I've told this story, a couple of times on Clubhouse, but my cousin and I worked at this company,
and there was this lady that was a Muslima. She didn't wear a hijab, none of that shit. She's very like progressive. She's like, we love Christians, we love Jews, all this kind of shit. Like not really a Starbucks Muslima, but like she was still practicing. But they came over one day and they were like watching a football game, and her husband was real big into American football, and they were watching a football game, and there was like breaking news, and they like stopped the football game, and they were talking about like a bunch of Muslims and shit that were like overtaking some type of like U.S. military base overseas and shit, and like killing a bunch of soldiers and all that kind of shit and stuff. And they literally stood up in the middle of the fucking living room and started screaming Allahu Akbar. And my cousin's like, well, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, oh, no, it's not you, it's not Americans, it's like the American government and shit, we're against it, and we're just proud that they're like overtaking it and shit. And he was like, dude, get the fuck out of my house. Because my cousin was like, he was one of those people, he's like, they seem like nice people and all that shit. And I was like, I wouldn't fucking trust them motherfuckers. Yeah, until they fucking start singing Allahu Akbar when they see like American soldiers getting fucking killed and shit. Yeah, and he kind of changed his stance a little bit.
I mean, I have an Irish alderman here in Chicago, and he sides with the Muslim community here, and we have a huge mosque nearby, and he's constantly posting anti-Israel stuff and siding with, the Muslim community, and he's Irish, and it's like, how did you get cucked? Like, how did they get to you? I mean, what is your why are these Irish people with them?
I've been asking, but I think, like, with the IRA, you did have, there was like kind of in a way like a weak alliance between even the Reds, the far left commies that were committing terrorist attacks in places like Italy and other parts.
There's also Eni's votes, and they're up and coming and they're growing thing. And if he's not sure of himself and not sure of his policies, hey,
But he was talking about the Irish in general, like the Irish. They also, with the different national separatist movements.
You know this Irish alderman in Chicago?
No, I'm saying that like Irish
John
people
said,
in
how
general.
did the Irish get cucked?
He's saying he fits like the type or whatever.
I think there's two parts to it.
I mean, don't they sympathize with them because they wanted their own liberty from England?
They were oppressed by the British.
Yeah. They sympathize, but how the fuck do they call themselves Christians and sympathize with a death cult like that? Like, why don't they draw a line? It's insane.
Doesn't make any sense.
Everything is political. It's just hyper-political polarization.
Different. I don't know how else to put it.
Like, polarization is the normalization. It's sick, but that's what it is. I mean, it's politics, 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 politics.
I do wonder, like, I see a lot of people sympathize with, that go hard for Palestine and against Israel. It's hard to know how, because they're saying it publicly, how much of it is genuine versus, I don't know, just, attention seeking, like, virtue signaling.
Hey, there's a piece of.
Yeah, Sam Rosen, come up here because for the past couple days, your Islam rooms have gone gangbusters on YouTube, and
I was talking about Resistance.
Did he leave? Oh, he left. Oh yeah, Resistance. I reported you. I hope they delete your account, you piece of shit.
I've already sent you an invitation, Resistance. I'm not sure when you can't come up.
You want to apologize for threatening to kill me and my family yesterday, Resistance?
Wait, is he Sunni or is he Quran only?
Resistance, I keep on inviting you, but it says you've already been invited. I don't know what's going on.
Oh.
Why don't you use your alternative account?
You can only do it like 3 times.
Yeah, that's like fucked up. Resistance, I've invited you. For some reason, it's
He's gone.
There's only so many times I can invite you. Then for some stupid, messed up reason,
Make
it
Pepe a mod or something.
It won't
make Pepe a mod and then let
No, it has to do with his account being invited 3 times.
No, it's another mod can do it, but you can't.
Like if you made Pepe or somebody else a mod, I don't want to be a mod, and we don't want John to be a mod because because he'll just kick everybody out and he'll play hypnosis. No, I love John to death.
He's a little eccentric.
No, John will kick everybody off the stage and then he'll play his hypnosis.
No, I'm not ready to do a coup d'etat right now. Sometimes I do it.
John is a piece of shit alcoholic that beat his wife.
Are you projecting? I don't even have a wife, you fucking loser.
Yeah, he doesn't have a wife. He doesn't even have a boyfriend. Yeah, he doesn't have a wife, doesn't have a girlfriend, doesn't have a boyfriend. I don't think he drinks much. He actually he smokes a lot of weed.
I like Miller High Life.
Resistance, you're black. You probably smoke a lot of weed, right? Resistance, you smoke a lot of weed?
I don't smoke weed.
Yeah, lying ass.
What do I look like? A hippie mother?
No, you look like a black guy. Most black guys smoke weed.
I ain't black, but guess what? Your mother likes black dick.
No. She definitely doesn't like black dick.
Yeah, she does. She got caught in high school blowing it.
No, my mom's a little bit racist. Like, just a little bit. Like, I wouldn't fuck a black guy type racist, but, like, she doesn't mind black people. She's just not into them. If you said my mom fucked you and you were white, I'd be like, really? Like, damn.
Oh, thank God you kicked him.
Nah, he's just good.
So, Pepe, how do you defend your extremist past?
What extremist past?
I mean, you say you came out of this and you're a neo-Nazi and the Discord and that.
Neo-Nazi?
He's Mexican. He can't be a neo-Nazi. They won't let him.
Your brother's got SS tattoos.
I know I trolled people with that. No, I was like very anti-diversity and mass immigration into white.
Yeah, that doesn't sound bad.
No, that doesn't sound good.
I think, I mean, it's hard to. I have a suspicion.
This is pretty simple.
That I have a suspicion. I'm against them, but I don't know. It's hard to say who's really behind it and fueling it. I don't even know that. Usually, Mexican illegal immigrants, for example, like at least growing up here, they really try to stay under the radar and not do stupid shit like protest. So it's. I'm guessing most of these people are citizens that are doing this stuff. It looks like you saw people wearing keffiyehs. You see people that look like they're, probably Antifa.
Yeah, it's really good for the Palestinian cause.
Well, it's all resistance, according to them. So.
No, it's all hypnosis. Yeah, if you kick somebody to the audience more than 3 times, then you can't bring it back up. But a different moderator can. So if you get somebody else in here, make that person a mod, like Daniel or somebody.
That doesn't make any sense. That's like a stupid rule.
Now, John, there was a lot. I was always around a lot of, at least online, a lot of Nazis. We didn't really get along with them. There's maybe some overlap, but I would say politically, how we would what we would think is ideal politically was far different from them. We didn't really buy into the Jewish question stuff, and so there was there was a lot of arguing and stuff. But
I mean, what I don't understand is can't you just be agnostic and just be a meditator and not even have opinions about history? Because when you question Jews, you're questioning history itself. It's what is the point of it? I just don't even. It's like a waste of your life.
No, I'm not really that into history. I was more. It was more concerning about what happens here. And I guess the other thing
here and now.
Where people would say I seem like a Nazis, I don't believe all groups have the same traits distributed the same as each other, and i.e. a race realist, and that was something that always concerned me with demographic change. And
I've been called a Nazi too, but that's mostly just because I have a hierarchy based on intellect.
But what is race realism? That's just politics.
Race or eugenics. Because I'll also say that the Igbos, have the highest median IQ in the continent of Africa. You should bring all them in here.
I would like to see. I don't think it's politics.
How is race realism not politics? It's 100% politics.
Well, if I'm worried about demographic change, that would the reflection reflection of your society. Your society is going to be a reflection of the people in it. And I think the world, or I should say, a nation, can be a much worse place depending on, or better place depending on what
He's saying he
population
doesn't want the United States to become fucking Somalia.
No, I get that, but what I'm saying, there's like the whole other aspect of like transcendental, spirituality, which supersedes race identity.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Nope.
But I mean, you could say that's a higher form of politics as well. I'm just trying to understand why people think and do and say what they do, like, and if it's ignorant or if it's accurate or it's just a waste of time. Like when I hear T-Robs using the N-word or the K word or the Jew word all the time, and everything is Jewish and this is Jewish and that, it's like, are you fucking, like, you must really be retarded. You must really be that stupid. Like, how do you live your life like that? You're fucking brain. You're beyond stupid. You got Tourette syndrome.
Well, I would say this: that people like me, that were considered like extremists years ago, like the shit that I was saying has gone like super mainstream. Like if I go on X, any of these places, being like pro-white, being against immigration, and calling out how you don't want third worlders or non-whites coming into the country, that's pretty mainstream now, and it's kind of like why like it was something I was passionate and motivated about, but when very few people were saying it, but now it's like so mainstream that it's like, God, this is kind of like boring. I'd be talking to a bunch of people who are grifting off of it and would largely agree with me.
Yeah, if you said 20 years ago you don't want a bunch of Hispanics or Bangladeshis and Bengalis and shit like that, you'd be racist or neo-Nazi. But nowadays they're just like, oh, that kind of makes sense. We should look at like Sweden and Norway, all these places and shit that went to shit. Bengalis.
I don't know. I think it's also just like a critique of how people speak. Their public speaking. If I say, what is the problem in America, and somebody says the Jews, and then I go, what's the problem in UK? They'll go the Jews, or I'll say, what's the problem in Israel? The Jews. It's like, man, it's like, how does anybody want to have a relationship with you? Like, how do you even go about your daily life like thinking this way? And you come on this app and talk about it all the time.
I would ask this question. Before I ever heard of the JQ, I'm talking like when I was even in college, I just never thought about Jews. There's nothing to really, no reason to think about them. But, I mean, even then, it was kind of like obvious, especially like disproportionately successful, but also especially like in places like the media, and I would kind of get a sense like it seems like they put themselves in the spotlight a lot. But that's kind of hard to tell. Well, maybe all of these people in the media, maybe the media they're making is going to reflect who they are as people. And so I guess it kind of like begs the question: how much do you think Jews center themselves versus people centering them? Because I do think there's like a little bit of both. Like, I think that when it comes to, like, foreign policy and that kind of stuff, they do kind of lay their, like, for example, pro-Israel issues out there front and center, which, and then that's going to...
Yeah, but the point is, which Jews? Like, when people say the Jews, that's like labeling everybody. These Naturi Kartai.
Ones that make YouTube channels about hypnosis and record clubhouse rooms, and I think that's
what I'm saying is it's not a monolith, but it's like why do people generalize all the time and just say the Jews? It's so stupid.
Well, there only has to be a portion of them that end up putting, like, for example, Israel, foreign policy that will be good for Israel front and center. Clearly, it's because they're people that have. I guess you could say wealthy, and they're well connected politically.
That's a good thing.
I mean, that's why it happens.
You want the smart people here, right? That may not be Bangladeshis.
Well, it depends on the smart people. What I want like to import all of the high IQ East Asian people and then have like like a ruling class that consists of people ethnically foreign to me. Like, no, I think that's a recipe for disaster as well. And this was actually something progressives would talk about like just a decade ago about how that would not work out well. It wouldn't for anybody. Nobody wants a foreign, I guess you could say racially foreign group of people to be basically lording over them in the professional class. I mean, anybody would resent that.
Just say you should marry a Jewish woman with beautiful little Jewish babies and be part of the oligarchy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe one day they will. They'll put me in a nice nursing home. We'll see.
I don't know. I don't think this app accurately describes what's happening in the real world, you know, because these are all like, it's the same characters and the same cast day after day. And in the real world, people who have responsibilities, they don't waste their time on this shit. So therefore, they don't get into like these types of heated debates. Imagine if like the real world was like this and everything was a conference
It's your
call.
fault. You created all of us with your, your imagination. This is a figment of your subconscious mind.
I'm just saying that this app is a huge waste of time. You know it, and I know it.
Hey, Moose, he's on the call.
Yeah, Rich, the first time I ever heard you bringing up all these interesting little factoids about Islam, I was blown away. I was like, whoa, this guy's very smart. There's got to be like a book or a movie or a YouTube channel that can give you like the 100 cringiest things about Islam, you know?
Reddit.
Yeah, I've seen some of it on Reddit, but there needs to be like a YouTube link where you can quickly go, watch this 10-minute video about Islam, and you tell me if these people aren't fucking retarded.
We should make that. Come on. Cheeseburger to make all this. Listen, Patty. Let's invite. Invites. All right, John. It's time for you to take over and do your thing. I'm gonna regret it.
Uh-oh. I think everybody fleed to greener pastures anyways.
Yeah.
Israel is on high alert.
What's going on?
Okay, let's go to Sam's house.
Okay, I'll go over there. Follow us, William.
Like, trying to take over as many stars as they can. Well, like, they're going to be the ones that are most successful at, like, deciding the fate of the rest of the universe. and like the kind of the future of the universe is in their hands, basically. And I worry about that. That, like, you know, if we decide to just, you know, be chill, build virtual realities, and build heaven on earth, that will be like just a temporary heaven we've made for ourselves. But then we'll just be ceding the fate of the whole universe to them.
I think you should read Moses Hess, The Holy History of Mankind. That's kind of like pre-Marxist communism. It's very similar to Marxist communism. And its description, like, of the final stage of social development is pretty cool description of how communism can work. And then you just combine that with Marxism that says, like, well, due to tech development, this is going to be necessary. What's going to happen? So, like, any civilization that's developed enough to have interstellar travel, like, is going to necessarily be a communist one. So they're going to be pretty chill.
So, saying the title, I got a question.
Sure.
Which one would you rather have ruling the world? Christianity or Islam?
Christianity by a long shot.
I knew that answer was coming.
Oh, do I want to follow a pacifist, forgiving love guy or a warlord? Who will be the better, you know, beacon of mankind? I wonder.
I mean, those are kind of, you know, naturally justified stereotypes.
Are they both unjustified or just one?
Well, both. If someone asks me about Christianity, like, I'm going to assume that they mean, like, trad Christianity. And if we're comparing, like, apples to apples, like, you know, let's take some medieval traditions of Christianity versus medieval traditions of Islam. Like, I would choose Islam every time. And in fact, like, historically, like, coming from a territory and nation that's Christian and has been ruled by Muslims for 4 centuries, that's been the historical, like, experience of the church. Like, they love being under Islam more than being under, like, Christian kings, especially Christian kings of a different denomination.
I mean, Christ's message just feels more appealing to me. Sermon of the Mount is kinder than any. I've not found a single surah in the Quran that had more kindness and wisdom than most things Jesus said. Like, people will quote stuff like, if you kill one person, it's as if you killed the whole world.
Yeah, but Israel.
But literally the next, like, fucking line of that quote is him saying, and if there's people that fight against Allah, you can
Like, well, no, you gotta read the verse before.
I'm not leaving without him.
This command is given to many Israel.
I'm sorry. I can only afford to lose one
There's
friend
many
today.
cool verses in the Quran.
Wait!
I mean, my favorite ones are the lists of so righteous, pretty cool. Probably the most interesting precept is, or one of the most interesting ones, is if the enemy wants peace, you need to accept peace. Like, I think that's one of the best ethical instructions that I've come across in anything that I read.
What? No! 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 Oh, no!
Rocket, look at me, where is he?
I don't think you should always turn the other cheek. I think you should turn the other cheek if you're dealing with someone who will possibly operate back at you. It's kind of like a
Oh, I'll take your money.
try to
I like
cooperate.
full filthy peanuts. Some of all one.
They are very confident they're not going to cooperate with you. It's very likely they're not going to do it, and you shouldn't cooperate with them. You shouldn't be allowing them to slaughter.
I can't see the blood.
Peace stuff has
Help him up there.
interpretation traditionally has been
Lost the fucking arm.
personal insults.
You want me getting sore?
Sure, yeah. The historical Christianity was like, well, this isn't about
loader makes their collections a bad ticker.
Resistance, because that's with other stuff.
Maybe go hit up in the trunk.
If you let yourself be killed, then you can't help your family or protect others. You can do any other good deeds. Jesus Christ about like, we should disobey the contradictory and those basic kind of things. Compassion and love. So they interpreted it as just being about personal insults. And there are, like, under the Reformation, some passages that appear. And that you can be like, okay, is that morally problematic? But I remember a point that I heard someone make that's pretty interesting. So when the Anabaptists appeared after the Reformation, they had
become this dog and you start throwing the N-words out and you start going this route where you start threatening people's lives.
I don't give a fuck if you fucking care about me saying nigger. Nigger, I don't give a shit, nigger.
Well, you're making my point completely poignant, right? You're proving my point, and that's terrible.
Wow, because I said a word that you want to hear. I got the First Amendment right under the first constitutional amendment. What the fuck are you gonna do about that? Bitch, tell me what I can't say. Tell me what I fucking can't say again, bitch. I will slap you so hard.
Don't say the N-word. Don't say the N-word. Come on, man.
Yeah, fuck you, nigger.
As a betterment of this room, Doc, you can either actually try to have a conversation and not be a total tool bag idiot and sound and look as stupid as you want to.
You want to be a tool bag?
How dare you? How dare I
say things that you don't want me to say? How dare you talk as stupid as you do?
Disgrace to the American people.
You ain't
That is full of mentally deranged people. Run for your lives.
स्वतेजसा विश्वमिदं तपन्तम् स्वतेजसा विश्वमिदं तपन्तम् द्यावा पृथिव्योरिदमन्तरं हि व्याप्तं त्वयैकेन दिशश्च सर्वाः दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदम् लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन् अमीहि त्वां सुरसङ्घा विशन्ति केचित् भीताः प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षिसिद्धसङ्घाः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः रुद्रादित्या वसवो ये च साध्या विश्वेश्विनौ मरुतश्चोष्मपाश्च गन्धर्वयक्षासुरसिद्धसङ्घा वीक्षन्ते त्वां विस्मिताश्चैव सर्वे रूपं महत्ते बहुवक्त्रनेत्रम् महाबाहो बहुबाहूरुपादम् बहूदरं बहुदंष्ट्राकरालम् दृष्ट्वा लोकाः प्रव्यथितास्तथाहम् नभस्पृशं गंगाजी नभस्पृशं दीप्तमनेकवर्णम् सुधाजी नभस्पृशं दीप्तमनेकवर्णम्
नभस्पृशं दीप्तमनेकवर्णम्
व्याप्ता